when I recorded through OBS, it made a huge difference, but streaming, I'm not sure.
But
So
before we got on, what I was gonna this
we're
is
on right
video
now.
game related. Yeah, okay.
All right,
Anytime you
let me
see
just set this
me,
up real quick
go ahead,
because
go ahead,
I
go ahead,
got
set it
a
up.
bunch of new subscribers, and I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Had someone jumped in, expect to talk some home theater stuff, and I was like, I definitely gained a couple hundred subscribers this year, and we still just kind of do the podcast like it's everybody, the usual. So just in case somebody clicked on this, just as a gaming podcast, we do every Monday. As of right now, it's going to be on the Terminator Juice channel, but I am thinking of maybe just starting a Juices Loose podcast channel just for the podcast. Um, I don't know if that'll make a difference, but most of my new audience is all home theater stuff. So I know a lot of guys game though. Probably maybe not to listening to us talk some pretty in depth stuff, but just wanted to throw that out there. Maybe we could introduce ourselves or something. It's the first time in years. Just so used to just having like for me no real growth on my channel, and it's just the same people tuning in every week. Kind of got away from that, but um,
YouTube, man.
if somebody's clicked on this and you're from, subscribe from the home theater content, we're going to be talking some gaming, so some movies, but
We talking movies, so
yeah,
don't worry about that.
uh,
Yeah.
some home theater guys don't watch movies though, but that's a whole other discussion.
Um, got
not
them.
not saying saying no data on. Oh,
It's
excellent
all
connection
about
now.
it's all about this like some of the early PC dudes. It's just a lot of spec talk. Look at the new thing I bought. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
watching any movies with it, but look at this.
So Lenny, how's our? I changed my mic level. How do I sound compared to T and Robert? Robert, why don't you say something?
Hmm.
Test, test. Hello, my name is Robert.
So yeah, if you guys could just let me know if I'm louder than I was last week. Raised the recording level in Windows. It worked on OBS when I recorded a test. Um, I was gonna do a live stream test just to kind of get it figured out. So hopefully you guys can hear me. If not, I'll have to do the mic right up next to my mouth again. What's up, Donnie?
That thumbnail though.
Yeah, I just threw something up there. I was gonna actually work on one and I completely forgot. Yeah,
That's the best one.
we had Gamescom happen. I didn't know it was happening. There wasn't a ton of news from there. And then you guys weren't here to talk about the main thing I want to talk about last week was what do you think is considered a success, or what do you personally, what would you say is where the Switch successor needs to hit sales wise to be like, all right, that was a success, and what do you think Nintendo feels like a successful follow up to the Switch would be as far as like units sold for the actual hardware? Because Sandstorm and I were kind of hovering around that 75 million, 80 million range where you're like, all right, that's definitely a
That's
success. Coming off like 150, 160 million Switch. I don't know. What do you think?
I I agree because my thinking was I'm thinking of the DS and how crazy of a success that was, and it just hit at the right time, and obviously it brought on non gamers and whatnot as well, and it just became a crazy success, and it ended up at what 154 million
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you go to the 3DS, and 3DS topped up at like what 75 or something
I
like
think it was
that.
like
Yeah, it was like
78.
70 something.
Oh, it was a
70
I
little
looked
higher.
it
something.
Okay,
up last week, but I already
I was
forgot.
gonna say 80, but I didn't think it was that high. And I
No, not
figured
too wide.
that's what the Switch 2 should be. You got the Switch 1 being that crazy phenomenon success, but then it kind of settles down. Obviously the market changes. There's new handhelds, gaming handhelds out there. There's going to be more, and so they're going to have a little bit more competition next time around. And same thing happened with, I would say, the 3DS. Like smartphones and whatnot started to pop off.
Tablets.
Tablet devices and all that kind of stuff. And so the 3DS was still a great success, but it wasn't as crazy as the DS was when it hit. But I think around 75 to obviously more, but I think if it hits 70, 75, I think it's a pretty good success for next
And the
gen.
3DS was 75.9, so you guys were pretty
Ah,
close there.
I was right.
Hmm.
I said 75 on the Heasy. Yeah.
I think Robert.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see that as, again, pretty much the same. It is a pretty big drop of 50%, but like it's kind of like the idea where I think there's a very realistic chance that if they're still strong enough, you could still reach that 100 million mark again. You know what I mean? Where it's like it crossed 107 or something like that. But I mean, look, the numbers that they've done this generation is gonna be tough to top. That is just insanity. So yeah, and I kind of look at it. I try to look at the PlayStation numbers, where they've always crossed like over 100 million, other than the PlayStation 3, but that still did 85 million, I think. Also that.
87,
So
I
it's like
think.
87. So it's like yeah, because I know the 360 was like 85 or something like that. So it's like
Yeah.
it was that
Hey,
was like a couple
beating
more.
360 at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like I could see something like that where it's like that's still there's no way you can't say 75 million is a failure. You know what I mean? Because that's a
No.
ton of consoles. But like
I
I
could
think
say you could
I think it's
use
very realistic to see 100 million again. Like
Nintendo could
100 and
probably fairly say they'd be disappointed if it only hit 75. Not a failure by any means, made them a lot of money, but I
yeah.
would think disappointed could be an appropriate
See,
word.
I don't even think that's right because Nintendo did not know that this bitch was going to be 160 million
That too also.
consoles.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were super surprised at how well it
Depends
did.
on the
I mean, they
market too.
expected
Like,
it. Yeah, I'm just saying. I remember back, when the Switch was first out, when it first came out, that Nintendo was surprised and a little bit overwhelmed with the success of it. I remember articles about that, and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. So for them to be disappointed, yeah, that would be a disappointment of greed. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, I guess so.
we didn't do like crazy numbers like we did with the Switch, but we didn't expect the Switch to do that. So, and once it did,
it's
we started to help it, but that was it.
I'll get Terrell's thoughts in a second, but it's almost like companies that have consistent growth, or like during 2020 when in the U.S. where all this money was getting handed to us from the government, getting checks,
Stimulus.
and then you're getting a bunch of people were getting just huge amounts of money through unemployment on top of, like, they're making more money than a lot of people working full time still, and there was a big surge in certain industries, and like I think I told you guys, my buddy that does concrete, he was doing ridiculous jobs, like concrete pads for hot tub. People are buying hot tubs, so he's doing all these concrete pads for hot tubs. He's making like five
Oh,
grand,
America.
3 to 5 grand on a hot tub pad that took him half a day. It was ridiculous. And then now he's like, oh, we're in almost a recession because these don't have all these people don't have all this extra money. And so in his mind, it's been a huge decline.
I think, what was it like before that craziness hit? If that was fine, then we're not in some crazy recession.
What was the other like industry or something that had a huge spike during COVID? I think maybe it was the game industry.
Streaming?
I think
gaming did. Certainly
Well,
did.
that and
people-
like streaming.
To that. That's what I thought you were.
Any
gonna get on
online
that.
content
Yeah.
creation is what kind of blew up.
because
Yeah.
it's like somebody was just saying how, and maybe it was just the gaming industry, but how
Well, seeming like anything entertainment wise, subscription, online,
Entertainment wise, streaming
Yeah.
with bananas.
yeah, and it's
anything
like,
like,
it's way down. Well, yeah, because you're counting COVID now. If you take that out of the equation, it's still going upward. But anyway, Terrell, what do you think a good number to like draw the line between, like, hey, this is a success for Nintendo, this follow up to the Switch, and this is maybe on the opposite side, not a failure, but hard to call it a real success.
And we're talking about the sequel, not
The Switch 2 or whatever it's called.
It's at what? Well, it's about to go over 150 million, right? If I remember correctly.
Was that 143? I think.
So it's near 150. Okay, got it.
Yeah, again,
Yeah, I think as long as it hits, I think if it broke somewhere between 70 and 80, I think that's fine. Because to me, it was the way the Switch 2 I mean, the way the Switch blew up was so. I feel like this is gonna be redundant because I feel like T said all the better parts. I'm tired of this man. He's fucking swagger jacking like usual. I'm
Next
sick of
time.
your shit, man. No, I think it's hard because I don't want to compare. I don't feel like it's fair to be like, oh, if you don't sell 100 million, you're a failure. I think
You got drunk
Nintendo.
off.
I think what it really means is it depends on how much of a boost the 2 is compared to the 1. If it's like, because if it's nothing crazy and it sells 80, I would say that's still good.
Absolutely.
At that point though, I would start being like, okay, we can't, like, if we in the next 5 to 7 years with that Switch 2 and it's only at 80, I mean, they're gonna be like, okay, maybe we might need to start experimenting.
Yeah,
more
they're
with
gonna
how-
if it starts like, let's say 5 years in, they're looking at like 70 million, right? Then they might want to think about, you know, getting the next system out sooner than they did with the Switch 2 over the Switch, because I don't think you want to drag that out to try to get
Yeah.
8 years out of it if it's already kind of slowing down.
Exactly.
We'll
but,
see.
But I don't want to. But I don't want to add like 80 isn't still a strong number because even for Nintendo consoles, they only got, as far as home
It'd still be up
consoles,
there, yeah.
It's still like what, top 3, if not.
Yeah.
It'd be like second if it was 80, because I don't think any of the other consoles.
Three, because it's Switch, Wii, and then it would be.
Oh yeah, because the Wii, yeah. So yeah, it'd be
eventual
third.
Switch 2.
So yeah,
Well, yeah, even
I
the
think sending
PSP
80 is fine. So what?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're done.
No, go
I
ahead,
was just
man.
I was just saying, like the PSP did 80, and people act like that was a failure or didn't do great.
You know why?
like,
Because it was being
80
compared to the DS. That's why.
That's my point. Exactly. It was being compared to the DS. So if you compare Switch 2 to Switch 1, and Switch 2 doesn't get, you know, like again 160 million, whatever it's going to end up at, then people will look at that as a failure. I think that would be like crazy. You gotta look at the market. The market is
What did the
going to be
Vita
very
top
different.
out at?
Vita was like 14.
Yeah, it was
really?
pretty. It might have.
more than the Wii U.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like 14 million.
I think you're right in the right range. It might have squeaked
I
out a little
remember
bit
all
more.
this useless information. I don't know why this shit.
It definitely
retains in my
passed the
brain.
Wii
You're a
U,
real
but it wasn't
gamer,
much.
too, that's why.
You looking it up,
Gamers
Terrell?
called gamers. Yeah, I'm looking it
I
up.
just want to see what the actual and final numbers. Maybe Sony added a couple million at Jim Ryan.
At the very end,
If you
They actually
more
sold 20
sales-
million. So
it is at. Oh,
Jay
whoops.
Biggs says, good old days of working remote with no metrics, easiest money ever made, making money for playing Switch and sleeping.
It's about, they say 15 to 16 million. That's where it's at.
Okay. So Visor Grunt says even Sony considered PSP a failure. I think maybe on the game side, I guess the game sales, because that's what I always say.
They
Yeah,
didn't-
PSP
They didn't
sold
put any, like,
80 million units, but the
flagships.
games didn't sell crazy.
Sony never
like
committed
DS
with
games.
their best teams and stuff, putting
Right.
games.
They never
Yeah, I
do that.
agree. That was
They never
probably
do
that was the biggest.
I would
biggest
think-
problem. Like,
Honestly, if I was Nintendo, like, you would hope that you could get to the 100 million with the Switch successor, but only they know exactly what they have in the system. Like, you know, what I don't know what expense it's going to be for them. If they're going to be able to make money on it, like, there's probably a
Did
lot of
Sony
factors.
actually-
So,
did the Sony consider the
Console.
PSP a failure?
that's what Visor says.
I
That's
think
why I
they
I feel like it's true. I feel like I heard
I
that.
think
and
because
that's-
they
don't-
wanted it to be. I think because they wanted it to beat the DS, and it was like, damn, man.
remember when was it Colin? Was it Moriarty?
Moriarty.
Moriarty.
When the Vita was coming out, it was going to destroy the 3DS.
It's a PS Vita set to succeed. I'll never forget that title. 'Cause I want to rub
He
it in his
was,
face
Worst
every time.
aging titles of all time.
I was
Yeah,
talking
that
about
was his line.
I was talking about like the start of last week about the good old days for me of the good old days at IGN with Matt Casamassina and Bozon and Pierre and Fran.
Mm.
I forgot that was a little bit after where you had the Greg Millers and Colin for the PlayStation. I mean, it was fun to hate those guys though. You know, I was such a Nintendo fanboy.
They were very unlikable.
Yeah. So I wasn't like
say them.
I wasn't like just I guess I didn't like them, but at the same time thinking about it now I kind of have fond memories of just ripping on their fanboyisms and stuff and how ridiculous some of their reviews and stuff were, and it was kind of added to kind of the fun of it all. And
PS4 is the Super Nintendo. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my god.
Shit out of here, bro.
I'll never forget the Last of Us remastered PS4 review that Colin did. It's 10 out of 10. I'm like, it's a PS3 game. You give it a 10 out of 10, then what is a PS4 game gonna like? You can't exceed a 10 out of 10. Like that, you already gave it the max score you could give a game, and it's just a port of a game from a year ago on PS3. It's like, that's just stupid. Like,
Such a shit.
Yeah, I don't get why even bother reviewing the next one again.
Right.
Like, just don't
You
even
know what the game
just
is.
say this game's great, but it's a port,
Just-
so it
yeah,
automatically
technical-
loses a point for being a.
I mean, I don't think you even need to give it a score. Like, I just
No.
not everything needs to have not everything needs to have a score.
This is a score we gave the original game. Let's talk about the technical aspects. If
That's
there's
it.
any boot,
Yeah.
that's it. Move
Yeah.
on. Like, come on.
You don't need to give it a score. Hey, this is what it is for the PlayStation 4.
Right. That's
Bro, you
nonsense.
already gave it a score. Like,
Yeah,
it's-
that sticks.
Now you
in
talking
my
about the
mind.
remake? That's different.
Yeah,
A
it's a
remake
little
of the
bit
game
different.
is
Yeah,
different. But a
Even though it
remaster-
doesn't
That's
need
like-
to exist. I didn't think it
you were to
needed to
give
exist. for it, fine.
a score to Super Mario Brothers on Wii U Virtual Console. Like, what is the score for this?
Didn't they use
Well,
to
they
review
did that for
Uh,
Switch games for Wii U.
Yeah, I was like,
ports.
didn't they review those? That's what I was about to say.
GameSpot gave Tropical Freeze way
that
higher.
still doesn't make any sense either. That doesn't make any sense either.
they graded. I remember. I think it was Game Explained. They graded Star Fox 2 as if it was a new fucking game that came out today. So they started talking about the frame rate. I'm like, bitch, sit your ass down. You really gonna complain about the frame rate of a Super Nintendo game in 2017?
It's
Shut the
important,
fuck
T.
up.
Damn, man.
You're crazy. They got so much flack for that shit. It was hilarious.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think
Oh, man, that frame
I
rate,
think
though.
Tropical Freeze got like a 8.5 or 9 on GameStop. The original got like a 6.
GameSpot.
GameSpot.
No, man, it was GameStop. Leave him alone, man. Leave him alone.
And I'm just like, it doesn't perform any better. I mean, it's not like the original.
Well, again, I
had
get it's a
issues.
different reviewer and all that type of stuff
Yeah.
because we love, we always say like IGN gave it a blah blah, blah, but no, it's the reviewer gave it. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like in the end of the day, I just why are you re-reviewing a game you already did and giving it a different score and all?
Right.
Come on, man.
You can
I
avoid
get it.
those
I
issues.
only-
You can
I
avoid
think what
problems like
makes
that.
sense is like if you were to do like a Bowser's Fury, you're reviewing that section or
Yeah.
blah blah blah, like that. But not like you're not gonna review. Why are you reviewing?
Well, I could see it. Okay, this is for Switch owners. Here's a review of this game. You know, if you're buying it, but I mean, I could see why they would review it, but
Yeah, but you could literally just re-release your review that you already made.
unless there's
years
some
ago.
significant change or
No,
something.
but I want new clicks, Robert. Jeez.
But you could do it. Just re-upload the videos. To
Yeah.
No,
you get
man,
new
I gotta
clips.
give them new
And then
content,
put at the
man.
bottom Switch version. Here's some notes from the Switch version.
Yeah,
This, and
yeah.
this. Loading times are faster. Whatever
That's it.
Right.
the Switch version improves.
Here's what you want to know about the improvements or whatnot in this game, and then below it will be our original review. And fuck off. That's
Yep,
it.
That's it.
What if I don't want to fuck off, T, man? Come on. I think that should be a choice of mine.
But you avoid people comparing the other review to this review. You avoid
Yeah.
that, but they don't care. They don't care. Who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah.
Yeah, I do miss like it's everything's different now with social media and stuff, but just having no idea. One day you wake up, you check IGN or something, and here's a Metroid Prime 2 hands-on preview out of the blue, and written by somebody you liked and trusted. How excited I would get to like read. A lot of times it wasn't even video form back then. Like to read somebody's like thoughts for a game and just not know it was not tomorrow previews. We already know the dates for
When
like embargoes and. And
Yeah.
all these YouTubers at the same time will all of a sudden be previewing the same game, and it just kind of took the, kind of the excitement out of it.
I mean, I get that. Admittedly, I wasn't really around for that time, but but that does sound that is
You
an
were
interesting
alive,
time.
man.
it was.
I wasn't on the internet like that, though. I mean, definitely not.
Yeah, you had a social
I
life.
remember
You were touching
No,
grass.
no, I was a kid. I was just
the Nintendo
difference,
team
social
had to
life.
like fight to try to get a Nintendo game in the Game of the Year discussion. Like Matt Casmassina and him. I think is it Mark Bozon or
Yeah, Mark
they had
Bozon.
to like
Isn't that
they,
Matt?
they always had
Oh,
to plead their case
Messina and Mark Bozon.
to get like a Nintendo game considered for Game of the Year for IGN, and I don't know if I'm sure once or twice maybe, but as far as once the Xbox generation after the 6th gen.
And Matt was a soldier, but he wasn't having.
I still follow him on X. Every once in a while he'll tweet something, but
Really?
he's I think works for an independent game developer. I think they put a game out maybe this
Yeah,
year.
because I think Mark is who does
Way Forward.
Way Forward, yeah.
Yeah.
They were the guys pushing Zack and Wiki on the Wii. Like they really did a lot of extra.
Oh yeah, Matt was all about Matt.
I mean,
Zack
it's a
and
fun game for sure.
I loved. I wasn't gonna pay any attention. What for them, I wouldn't have bought the
Yeah.
bits. So it worked on me.
What's up,
It's one of my
Hobbit
favorite
on
Wii games.
Home?
Well,
Yeah.
what I was trying to say, it was that we were talking about something else offline before we got on, and I was talking about my video. And so anytime you see me make a Nintendo 64 video, it's me rebutting some bullshit
Oh yeah.
that I've seen in somebody else's video. So I'll do, I'll go intricately and rebut this stuff, and I'll get nowhere near the views of the video
Mhm.
that pissed me off, but it makes me feel better. Okay, so I
Yeah.
do it. But it was just the typical like, oh, the joystick sucked, and the blurry anti-aliasing, and I'm just like, and they want to review it today, and I'm like, that's complete bullshit. So this guy's premise was that the PS1, and he was definitely I won't say he was a pony, but he definitely loved the PS1 more, and he was like, it's fair to talk about these things by today's standards. And he went on this tangent about, he's probably in his early 20s. He was like, I know more about people trying to dismiss me because I'm young, but I'm like, I know more about these retro consoles than the people who grew up with them. I'm like, oh, that's some bullshit. And it's
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
okay, here's the thing. It's like, yes, you may have more facts about that era, or you remember because you just read Wikipedia or some shit. Like, but that is nowhere near comparable to a person walking around on Earth, living these consoles as they were out. That is a completely different feeling. So it's easy to look at a page and say, oh, well, this didn't have that. But unless you were living there at the time and understood the impact of that console at that time, you don't know shit. And that's kind of my premise.
Really can't even compare the PS1 to this N64. I mean,
No,
yeah,
and here's the thing. Because his thing was like, why does it seem like more people have more nostalgia for or reverence for the N64 over the PS1, even though the PS1 destroyed it in sales? And he was just making up all this all this stuff. Well, a lot of people were children at the time, and they just had more. I'm like, well, there was a lot of children playing PS1 too. Where are they when it comes to this? It's not that at all. And he was like, especially since PlayStation 1 had like 4,000 games, and the N64 only had like barely 300. And it was like talking about the attach rate. The attach rate for PS1 gamers was like 10.6 games or something, like 11 games. And then the attachment rate for N64 games was like 6.8, so 7. So I'm like,
sorry,
so
I
this
brought
bitch
that
has-
average down.
yeah, it's probably your fault. This bitch has 3,600 more games, and yet people only bought on average 4 more games than the N64 that had 3. Like, there's a reason for that. These games were bigger impact. The attach rate, people had more. Anyway, it was
And just Nintendo.
that's kind of just bothers me.
The N64 was known, and Nintendo especially, for making 2D games in 3D and them feeling perfectly like a perfect transition from 2D to 3D most of the time, not every single.
Right.
And it's like, how did they make Ocarina of Time feel like so Zelda, but also have
mentioned
so
that in my
much
video,
new
but
stuff? And it's like,
He didn't mention it at all. Like, taking a 2D game and making it feel like that 2D game, but in 3D.
it's like what Grand Theft
And
Auto did.
it made it look effortless, like the way they did that. And they did it with fucking Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time. Like, they did it effortlessly, and nobody else, like I was saying, Konami couldn't do that shit. Castlevania, they still can't do that shit. To this day, they haven't figured out how to do Castlevania in 3D. or in a 3D
And
world.
the
And
N64
it's just
graphically, I mean, blew away
Yeah.
the PlayStation 3D games for the most part. I say
Right.
Gran Turismo 2, that's some wizardry there. That game on PS1 just like looks so much better than anything else really. I think. So there was some highlights, but there was what was the Spyro games known for? Like where you could see the in between
Isometric?
the walls. There was like gaps, visible gaps. They couldn't
Oh, like
seamlessly.
crevices?
Yeah, they couldn't. There's a term for what the PS2 could with 3D games couldn't do something so that it wasn't like
PS1.
PS1. I mean, when you
Oh,
try
yeah.
to do a 3D game.
Well, it had that wobbly texture thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And it was just like,
move.
I hated that shit when it came to playing 3D games on PS1. I hated it.
it just
and it's
didn't.
the
Yeah,
same
it just
game.
didn't look right. It looked like just like.
And that was a PS1 problem because Saturn didn't have that problem and for 3D games. I don't remember wobbly textures and stuff. So that was a specific PS1 thing. But yeah, like they don't understand the impact of those games. To this day, people talk about Ocarina of Time and how it made them understand how to, and Mario 64, how it made them understand how to make a game in 3D. And, you know, Z targeting, they still use that shit. You know,
Today
Rumble
we're
Pack,
playing Spy.
that started on N64. Everybody uses fucking force feedback now. Like, these are huge things.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest things that saved N64 was the 4-player, you know, couch co-op. Like GoldenEye, 4 players on one. You know, you didn't have to buy any attachment. It just had to bring your controller, and that was it. And that was like game changing, bro. Like everybody talks about their being in the fucking. Oh, I was in my dorm room.
Mhm.
You know, we played GoldenEye all night and shit like that.
Mario Party,
There's
Mario
definitely
Party, Mario
times-
Kart,
Super Smash Brothers. You know,
Smash when it
Oh,
yeah,
G
like,
Smash.
I would say
That's
there was
crazy.
times when the stick would get a little slippery, I guess, because of the hard plastic. But overall, it worked really well.
Mhm.
yeah,
No, you're not wrong when you say the controller had a design flaw, because it did. Like after a while, you know, I'm lucky most of the time, for most of my controllers. But after a while, you know, you're rubbing plastic to plastic.
Mhm.
That's just gonna start chalking up, and that's what happens. But the stick itself, when you first get that bitch, you cannot tell me that is not a great stick. It was one of the first, you know, 3D sticks that actually had the nuance of, oh, you took Mario and you slightly tap that shit and he's going like this. And you tap it a little bit, push it a
Mhm.
little bit more. He's picking it up and then he's running when you push it all the way. Like nobody's controller was doing that shit. Even
Yeah,
you know, the
the
3D
way
controller for Saturn wasn't doing that.
360,
The
the way
DualShock
Mario
wasn't doing
moves,
that.
Yeah, because it
360
initially
degree.
didn't even have a analog stick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that shit was a
Man,
Super Nintendo.
my memory
controller
of
grip.
Gran Turismo 2 was well beyond what the actual game looks like.
Oh, you thought it
Yeah.
looked way better?
Yeah, this looks more like
Ass? Oh,
like
sorry.
a.
Your
32-bit
mind remembers
or,
it
like
differently. It's just
16-bit.
normal.
I mean, there's some. I mean, at the
It don't look
time,
bad, though.
at the time, there was some impressive
If you
stuff.
put it- if
Like
you
the
put it back
replays?
then, if you had it in replay, exactly. If you
Yeah,
had that
the
shit in replay,
replays.
it looked realistic because it was 60 frames. That shit was clean back in those days. So
I wonder
The
what the
replays look
original
great.
Forza Motorsports looks like today. 'cause
Well, you know
that-
what I think? I think for some reason I'm thinking of I know the Gran Turismo on PS2 looks insane to me. Like I remember seeing the PS2 Gran Turismo being like, "Dang, that's a PS2 game."
Yeah, like
Or is
that
it-
shot there. This is the replay. I don't know if he's gonna skip it, but
Gotcha.
I mean
Yeah,
that.
I mean, that
that looked
looks
pretty
like-
impressive for PS1.
yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then
I
you
think
look
they
at the
look impressive for
background
anything
textures,
back
and it's
then.
not quite as.
yeah.
The cars
right,
look
you
pretty
got-
good.
You got a Super Nintendo crowd, and you
Let's
know
look
that's
up,
fine.
let's
That
look
shit
up
was impressive though. Back then.
Turok
I love Gran Turismo on
2
PS1.
N64. I want the actual.
Yeah, you don't want that. Yeah, you don't want the emulator or the remaster. That looks like the real deal there.
It might be a bad. This looks like a bad, probably capture though. I
Yeah,
don't know.
looks
How old is
stretched.
the footage?
It looks stretched.
Oh, 11 hours. Jesus.
I mean, regardless, that still
Oh, it
looks
is.
like compare
entire
that like the
playthrough.
3D model, like
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like look at the anime in the 3D model,
Let
like
me
look
try
at
to
that.
Yeah,
find
look at that movement with the arm and shit.
Let
Like
me try
that
to
was
find a
blowing
video
my.
that's not 11 hours long. Maybe it's.
Is that 11 years old? That's my question.
That's the whole game.
Yeah.
I think it was a full playthrough, probably.
That was a full playthrough.
Wait,
Yeah.
do it up there on the long play one. The go a little further
This is
down.
how you long play, baby.
The
long
that
plays
one,
are
the long play archive. Because usually they have good, clean footage on
they
them.
have clean footage and it's usually original.
It's 8 hours, but you get the idea.
There we go. Now it's not stretched. That looks good.
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously,
yeah. See,
yeah, the animations and the enemies.
This game blew my mind when I first
absolutely.
saw
I mean,
it
look
back in the
again.
day.
That is a definitely a big difference in terms of that. Other than the cars, like just the look at what you're
Almost
able to do
nobody
in
beat
terms of
Turok.
this 360
people,
roaming around.
Mm-hmm.
people remember how look you shot an arrow and that shit just stuck in his body and
It
stayed.
looks really good
Yeah.
on my
It's
actual
crazy
monitor.
to us back then.
What about what first-person shooter or first-person games did the PS1 have?
That looks
Do
pretty
we
damn
count?
impressive.
Do we
Well, it
count
had,
Tomb Raider, kind of?
Medal of Honor.
first person.
Oh, first
had-
person.
was-
You're right.
It had like was it
Medal
Quake?
of Honor was PS1, right?
The 12 best first-person
Yeah.
shooters on PS1.
I'm sure Quake's one of them. Yeah.
They don't
Quake
look
was
too
actually
bad,
pretty good.
But did they have a? They didn't have. Did they get a golden or not a golden a Bond game? Disruptor.
Yeah, they got Bond games.
See, this looks very like.
That's the reason Rare got rid of Bond license for the because they didn't
this
want to
looks
pay
like
the
a
license fee.
Doom, Wolfenstein kind of
Did
game.
EA. And
That looks
EA made tomorrow
Pretty
never
good, but,
dies.
it,
Looks
but
better
it's
than
just the
I
art
asked.
style. It's the art style doing the heavy lifting because of the. If you notice, like the
Yeah.
like the kind of the almost 2DS gun type
Rainbow
of
Six. Wow, they had a Rainbow Six game on the PS1.
Mhm.
The
I
humble
bet the
beginnings,
controls
man.
were trash unless this was due after the.
Oh, they had a Rainbow
the-
Six game on Dreamcast. I bet the controls is better on the PS1 than it was on Dreamcast.
Damn.
So
Sorry.
yeah, that looks this looks
I
pretty
love
basic.
Dreamcast, but man, that bitch needed another joystick.
See the next
I was
one.
gonna say that controls looks a little rough, but
Yeah, this looks pretty. This looks pretty basic too. It wasn't like when they started the design. I don't think they were really thinking full 3D games. On the PS1, they were. I don't.
No, that
Or was it
PS1
Saturn?
was designed for 3D.
Okay, it was
Saturn
a Saturn.
wasn't.
Yep.
Yeah, Saturn was like, oh shit, PlayStation is making a 3D console. Let's throw an extra chip in here.
Mhm.
Bad. It was a bad design. If you could utilize it, it was great. You got shit like Panzer Dragoon
there you go,
Saga.
Medal of Honor.
They were gonna put Shenmue on Saturn at one point. They had
Really?
a Saturn build. Oh yeah, they had a Saturn build, and it
That
looked
was
really
pretty
good.
good.
But
This
they were
looks
like
a little GoldenEye-ish.
on that shit like 8 years ago, probably. Look it up. Yeah, it looked really good. Shenmue looked really good on Saturn, but obviously they put it on. Saturn was dead. They put it on Dreamcast.
They put Doom on a potato, so that.
Didn't help Dreamcast either. Maybe that's why that budget was so high. It started on Saturn. They had to put it over to Dreamcast.
I mean, PS1's a little definitely better than I was expecting with some of these. That's the aliens.
Yeah, but then you gotta also throw in controls.
Yeah, but look
You
at
know,
yeah,
like-
not every game's equal.
Yeah.
Obviously, this one's pretty far down on the.
It can look
visuals.
good, but if you put your hands on the control, and you're like, ugh. What is
Yeah, I
this?
mean, but again, you gotta like look.
That's a
Those are
2D
literally
with his hand.
Those are 2D.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
That's a
it's
2D
it's-
hand.
This isn't even.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to the number one.
That is not Turok with the 3D
Quake 2 is
and
number
the
2.
animation and don't even talk about the
That was
effects.
good, though.
Yikes! And it looks some real time. Is this Quake? Yeah, because Quake.
Yeah,
I remember
That looks
watching the
good.
video on Quake and how impressive
the
the
lighting was
port
impressive.
was to PS1. Yeah.
That's pretty damn good for that.
Yeah.
Character animation stuff are pretty weak, but definitely better than I was expecting.
They pulled some pretty good tricks. It was
Yeah, there was
an
a
interesting video.
Bond.
This definitely looks pretty
I told you.
impressive, though.
Mhm.
World is not enough.
I have a question, and this is probably more apply to like maybe tea and juice for like more retro gaming. But do you think games? Do you miss the time where developers had to get creative with the limited hardware, or do you prefer it now where they have as much power as they want?
I like when
Nope.
they have to overcome limitations. I mean, it's also great
I
when
hope
somebody
you-
can just like fully just
Brute force some shit.
when they can
Yeah.
just make like
Yeah, I
this
mean that's cool.
amazing
I like
game,
it.
you know, like from
I like that.
scratch. Like,
Yeah.
Which one? I just had one on top tip of my tongue, but this is Perfect Dark in case you didn't see it. I know T would know what it is.
Of course.
This is the
Of course.
Is this multiplayer?
Multiplayer. But you couldn't play. Actually, was it you can only play multiplayer if you didn't have the expansion pack.
Why did I click on
think
multiplayer
that's-
with bots?
Yeah, can we bring bots back?
This looks
Like
like yeah.
that.
This has been.
I mean, we got Xbox, right?
this looks
Yeah.
HDified.
No.
Those bots.
Emulator,
Yeah, that's either.
you see an N64 long play? Yeah, the long play.
Yeah, this is how you long play, baby.
Long plays is they
Yeah, this
They're,
looks,
what do
this
you call
looks
it?
good.
they're purists.
It's
The
just
long
fluid.
plays.
Like the
Tell
animations.
difference, man.
Yeah.
This well, also again the 3D models of
lighting,
these.
bro. Look
3D
at that
models.
lighting.
I think the Bond game for the PS1,
Yeah, the
I get why it's
textures.
at number one because it looked actually really good.
Couldn't get
But
this
even
on
compared to
PlayStation
that,
1.
like the lighting and the actual again the 3D model of everything is the textures of all these three is actually is what makes it above the PS1 in terms of those like just what they're actually
And just,
doing.
I mean, you can't even quantify like experiencing some of these games in 3D for the first time with the analog stick. It was
Right,
just-
and that's what I'm saying about these young guys who come on YouTube talking this bullshit. It's like you can't. Yeah, okay, you may know more facts that I've forgotten since that time, but it's like you don't understand what it was like to be in that era, sitting in there and playing these games for the first time on your, especially the first 3D era. You take this shit for granted. You take all this shit for granted. You grew up with nothing but 3D games, but it was a
Put respect on the
huge
name,
jump.
man.
Put some respect on the N64. Put some respect on that era. It was a huge leap to go from Super Nintendo to N64.
Man, you guys
That's
pretty
a
good with
nice
the
shot.
game. Look at yeah,
Look
what
at
the
that,
hell?
look at the-
It is
look at
kind of
that.
hard.
Let
It
him
was
try,
when I
let him
tried
try.
to
Done, bro.
play it on the Xbox One. I struggled with the pointer not turning the screen when you zoom in. I could have got used
Bro,
to
this
it,
game
but
needs a Wii port. This shit would be cool.
It needs a
Mhm.
Wii. Get that
Yeah.
Wii part.
oh,
real
that's
quick.
something we can talk about. The Nintendo Museum they showed last week, and actually, I think there's a lot of stuff in there that looks like it'd be pretty fun to experience and just cool to see.
Absolutely.
There's some odd things going on.
There's
in
some
that
weird
museum.
stuff, but at the same time, like that
I
was like that
appreciate it,
baseball
though.
game. I'd still be
Yeah, I
fun to
like that.
try
I like
for a
the
little
weird
bit.
shit.
The giant controllers obviously
Yeah,
Absolutely.
look awesome.
because Nintendo loves making you play with other people in that
Yeah.
room together.
You don't want to have friends, friendly fun.
Flick, flarn, flick.
Hey! I want that
For
friend
those who
fun,
know.
man.
I wonder
They
they
play
didn't
fun.
demonstrate the N64 controller. Like you probably need 3 people to play. Somebody to pull the trigger
Yeah.
with their foot. Maybe somebody's hitting the buttons, the shoulder buttons. It'd be like 5 people to play one game. That
I
could
want to see
actually
a
be. Like,
giant gamepad, man. Someone touching the tablet.
yeah, I didn't see any
Be
Wii
awesome.
U stuff in that museum.
Nah, man, listen.
I'm sure they got
They're gonna
something
have
there.
something.
But
Some things are better.
They
left
had a
untouched.
giant Switch though. Like
Most of the Switch games.
Yeah, man.
Haven't
Here's your
checked
Wii
the
U.
chat in a while. Alien Resurrection was supposed to be the best PS1. Yeah, that looked pretty terrible. Alien
What
Trilogy,
game?
terrible controls. Alien
I
Resurrection.
think it
yeah.
looked terrible. It
Yeah. I have that. It's not great. Visually, it's pretty
On
good.
your tube
for PS1.
TV, that good CRT that had zero latency.
Mm.
Yeah,
You figured about that too.
that's what John Linneman. Like they had a couple videos a few years ago on I don't know if it was DF Retro or just Digital Foundry where he bought a couple Sony CRT monitors that were HD, like 720 maybe 640p. Like back in the day, those things were not too many people had those, so they're like rare and they're
Right.
like really expensive. But then I don't know what he used to like hook modern games, or maybe it was just running PC. I don't know if he was hooking actual consoles to it. And you don't have to turn on. There's no upscaling. You just run it at its native resolution because of the motion of how CRT works. It just looks so much better. obviously you can't really show it in the video. You know, you got to see it in person to really appreciate it. You know, all these new technologies, they have to try to replicate like the smoothness of CRTs, and on OLEDs they insert a black frame, like a black, because OLEDs are so fast at changing from one color to the next. You don't get that millisecond of black, which CRTs did, and for some reason that makes motion look so much better to your eye. But when you turn it on, your TV gets like like the dimness drops in half, and you see like this flicker. But apparently he lives by it. I tried it the other day. I was like, nah, I can't play like this. It's just, it looks terrible. But they have to try to replicate certain things. That's why they have to have high refresh rates to try to get close to what CRTs could do.
Yep.
And but anyway, Terrell, what did you think of the Nintendo Museum presentation?
I hate to say I haven't seen it yet.
No?
Dude, its work's been ass, bro. I haven't watched as much as I should have.
I'll show you a little clip of it.
It's only like 12 minutes, Cole.
I just didn't. I think I forgot about it.
You have your live reaction right now.
Oh my god! Do it for the culture. We do it for the Nintendo culture.
Let's find the actual video. And I disabled monetization on the podcast. I was sick of worrying about like putting something on screen.
The funniest thing to me.
Well, you can still put stuff on.
Yeah, you can still put on.
But then they're like, oh, copyright
you make money.
The museum.
But yeah, I don't like them. Not that I'm getting a lot of views, but I don't want them to get ad revenue just because.
Oh, okay.
Also, you're just being spiteful about it.
Why should they get ad revenue?
The movie for the Brady Bunch in the mid '90s.
All right, let me see.
Remember? Okay, there was a running gag in that movie where
the N64, the GameCube, the Wii, and the DS, the four pillars.
The dad.
Oh,
he
there's
was
the Wii U.
Architect.
They got a Wii U.
Oh no, it's
they're
the
showing the
3DS.
graphics. They have a Wii U gamepad and Wii U stuff.
Oh, the original.
I'm looking at the on my own screen.
Oh, I'm looking at the thing. I see
A
this.
giant.
But they don't have a Wii U gamepad up top.
That is weird. They don't have a Wii U
Actually, you know what?
gamepad.
They might on the left. You know, they just not on the Vision. You know what I mean? It's not right next to the
No,
Switch.
They should have that Switch.
I want to forget about the Wii U.
They can't, man. They can't.
We've been
What's this
saying it for
cost?
years. They'd rather just forget about it.
They can't.
All right, let me jump
You're not
ahead
allowed to.
here. They're going
Y'all
through
made
history.
mistakes, man.
I forgot.
What I was trying to say is the dad was an architect in the Brady Bunch movie. He probably was in the show too. I don't remember, but he kept his plans kept getting turned down. He kept shopping his plans around for buildings, and it just looked like his house. Like
Jesus Christ.
He designed his house too, so all of the buildings, like the grocery store, just looked like his house with a grocery store sign. And it made me think when I saw the museum for Nintendo, that the outside of the museum kind of just looked like Nintendo headquarters.
It did. I thought the same
I
thing.
was like, oh, who designed this shit? Dad Brady? I thought it was kind of funny.
Wow.
It's very similar.
But you can see when they show the
power
graphics,
pad.
the graphics.
Yeah,
They show
boy.
the graphics. They have the Wii U. They have the
Do
Wii U
they?
pop up for 3D World. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. They show the comparisons in Mario Generations. That was cool,
Yeah.
seeing them side by
They
side.
show boxes of something. I think some of the early games in a box. And I'm like, them shitty ass boxes. Y'all ain't got no better boxes. They look
Damn,
like
They should have some mint
shit.
condition.
Here goes. Here goes.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
you
you
need
got-
a white case or something.
Ain't
You
no
put
odds in
that-
hell.
There you
the
go.
box
There's
spawn.
Galaxy about to
Wii,
get 3D World.
You gotta put that shit in a water case,
Wii U
a sealed water
Yeah,
case.
they still acknowledge where some of those games come
All right,
from.
is it?
Oh,
Well, this
wow.
is their toys before.
Yeah,
the
that's
Nintendo.
crazy. Yeah,
Some of their games and stuff.
60s and 50s and 60s and 70s toys.
That's like a coffee machine or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the baseball room, isn't it?
I wonder if people would buy
If you hit
Nintendo
it,
themed
if
copies.
you hit it, it starts printing something.
I want to get. I
What's
want
up,
to get.
Sandstorm? I didn't know you're here.
I want to get a Nintendo themed baby
No,
stroller.
Mike's a little low.
Yeah, your mic's low.
Get it closer.
I want to get that Nintendo chess, baby.
You know, Sandstorm
Hell-
used to be a
oh,
YouTuber.
wow.
It's
but
cool. The floor,
Is that like a
You know,
Miiverse
floor?
floor?
it's very cool.
Yeah, you got to use their device. It'd be cool if you could use like your 3DS or Switch or something to interact. But
That's kind of cool. It's like a Miiverse. I like that. Can you
They had
write
that in
notes and put it on there?
Yeah, you gotta like.
When I went to
like
the science museum, they had something like that kind of.
It's gotta be clear about Nintendo.
You
before
probably got to
post
pay
it on the
extra
floor.
to use those devices to be able to do that. I'm thinking.
Those old school
Fuck it,
question
man. If
blocks.
you're only there for once in your life, you
Mhm.
might as well do it.
Is this open
This is
yet
where
or
we
no?
need to meet, all of us,
It
for the
opens
first
in
This is
time.
where it is.
All of us.
October, I
This is where-
think.
It opens when?
Yeah, October, I think is what it
Yeah,
said.
October.
Ah,
I'll skip this.
So you got time, Terrell.
for what? Wait, for what?
Why go to
Go.
Japan and
Oh, go to
I like the
Japan.
Super Scope
drive
versus
over to
the
Japan.
Zapper.
That Super Scope's good.
I never
remember when
I
that's
never
cool,
used
too.
one in real.
Nintendo, it's great. Nintendo was in that lawsuit with Sega and shit, and they were like, "Oh, we're not like those guys. They make super
Mhm.
violent games and stuff."
Yeah.
And then like the lawyer for Sega pulled out the Super Scope 6.
Mhm.
And said, you remember- check this
Oh,
shit
but
out.
you
Oh,
skip
wow.
the you could do batting cages.
Yeah, I
you said
skipped
you
that.
got. Oh,
Oh,
well,
yeah,
well,
batting
Terrell, you
cages?
could
That's
have
kinda-
batting cages. There's
It's just
batting
for some
cages.
of their cheap, like some of their toys that were like one was
Oh,
like
it's
you
just
step
like-
on it,
this is
puts
like
a little
Hogan's
wiffle
Alley.
ball.
That's
But
cool.
in the room though, it also like if you happen to hit like near something, it'll interact with it, which is pretty cool.
Is that the same girl he used that he plays the Mario with the controller? I think it is.
It's the what?
That girl with the super scope.
Oh, yeah, the
one
girl,
that
yeah, that's
plays on the giant controller.
I don't know.
They're trying to show you museum. This guy staring at the girls and shit.
Hey man, listen, Juice. It wouldn't be a Juice thing.
I
It
wonder
wouldn't
he
be a
picked
Juice
her.
and
I
Loose
wonder, I was
podcast
gonna
if
say,
he
I
wasn't
wonder,
lusting
I
over
wonder
Asian
if
women.
she picked her, or if he picked her.
Pretty
I
Japanese
know
girl
Juice
here.
picked her.
She's cute.
Juice picked her.
That's
Yeah,
his
she's
granddaughter.
For sure.
No, it isn't.
Look at it. He got concerned. He was like, "What? Oh, Miyamoto-san. I
It
apologize."
says it's the staff member. Maybe
That is the same
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for giant giant things of versions of things. You know?
Oh, wait.
No,
Pause.
What'd you say?
I told you.
I think I said this when I watched this by myself.
Pause.
Like girls
Right.
like tiny things, like when they see like a small version of something
They
normal
do?
size.
Oh yeah,
That's so
Not
cute.
everything.
And
man,
then
not everything.
yeah, not everything.
and then guys like to see like giant versions, like those
Because giant
controllers.
shit is cool. Like giant robots are
Pure
cool
is
as fuck,
better.
bro.
Yeah.
Give me a mech. Give me a fucking Gundam.
Give me a mech any day. Give me a
I will
Gundam
lose.
any day.
I'm not even a big robot fan. I still like to get in a giant robot just for the experience.
You see
What
those
you
like
telling us,
really
son?
advanced Transformer, like Optimus Prime ones? They're like thousands of
Shit's
dollars.
so cool.
They've,
I just I respect the build, if
Mhm.
nothing
You
else.
can
Like,
mention this-
That was one of my
this-
favorite things about IGN and their.
So let's look here.
Later
What
on.
else?
Wow.
What do they
you
have
were a fan
here?
of IGN.
Oh wow.
Are those
No,
Oh,
this
the
is cool.
giant Wiimotes is wild.
Right.
We got Wii
Wow.
Sports
That's
Resort. We got
wild.
Wii Play.
They
We
had a
got,
series where they would play a game together.
Forefront is-
and one
is
person would have
Super
a-
Mario Kart.
What do you think these controllers
then-
way down here are? Super Nintendo down?
That's Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that's Mario
Super
Kart.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
What's
Super
next to
Mario
it?
Kart. Next to it, you kind of got to play a little bit, but
I'm not gonna
after
lie. I
that-
wish they were a little bit bigger so you could you could stand on them. So each of
Is
you
this
could
Zelda?
control.
I think
like,
it's
a
Zelda.
D-pad.
That looks like
You're
a.
gonna need 5 people to play on the N64 controller.
I think that's a Link to the Past.
Yeah, that's Link to the Past. So those are two
Are they
Super
actually
Nintendo.
lifting
That's
the
Super
Wiimote,
Nintendo.
or is
And
that
then
Yeah.
like
the
a,
other ones we play in?
Yeah, it's
in Wii Sports
crazy.
Resort.
I don't know. It looks like Honey I Shrunk the or
No
Honey, I
GameCube
Blew Up the
controller?
Kid. Like,
Honey, we
"Ah,
shrunk ourselves.
Yeah,
You can-
controller too big.
oh my god?
Hell yeah, man! It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's a big Wiimote you got there.
Are you just happy to
Use
see
two-
me?
Use 2 hands.
By the way, welcome back, Terrell. It's been
Hi man.
what,
I
3
know.
4 weeks?
I'm still tired. No,
Welcome
I'm
back.
still tired.
That's for old people.
Work,
Sorry.
Man, look at those
Ass.
nice bookshelves. When did you put those up?
One of them was Friday and the other one was Thursday.
Are there books or games on that? I can't tell.
This one is games.
That's manga.
Okay, I see it now.
Yeah,
I
this
had to
one's
zoom in.
anime and manga.
And then those big spaces below, you could put
Alright.
like your old systems boxes and stuff. That's what.
Yeah, I tried to put some stuff. Unfortunately, the
Put your
single player
Wii U. You
environment-
could put your Wii U right there.
Welcome to
Well,
the
I got-
interior design.
I actually had to. I don't know
everyone.
if you can't see, but Tokyo Mirage Sessions is in front of the Wii U.
People
game.
that are watching the
I
stream
see
can
it.
see a nice Wii U box would fit good right there.
Wait,
Where?
Beauty.
Oh, right. Oh, I know what
oh,
you're about.
In the crack. You don't put nothing in the crack, man.
You put
Not
nothing
in the
crack,
queen, no.
man.
In the,
You put him in the crack, man.
You leave the crack alone. You know what I'm saying?
Respect the crack. What? Huh?
So Sandstorm, you got any update on your channel?
Nah, man, just still waiting. I've gotten some background information.
Did you get contacted by YouTube team at all?
Yeah, they said it's still gonna take 1 to 2 business days. So I'm assuming today would have been day 1. So hopefully I'll know
Oh, so
something.
you just
by,
got it like yesterday.
Yeah.
At least they're saying something.
What specifically happened? Because I didn't get the full
So,
content.
Okay, so this is actually what happened. I had a subscriber actually contact Vito to tell me what happened. So apparently this wasn't on Thursday because I streamed both Wednesday and Thursday. The incident actually happened on Wednesday. I was playing Black Myth, of course, and
Of course.
what the
Who isn't? Damn.
what the subscriber said is that they went to go look at the video on their Roku, and when they looked at the thumbnail, it had like sexual content on it. And so when they
Like,
clicked
what are we
on
talking
it,
about? Like, it was like just straight up porno store?
yeah, and like when they
Wow.
clicked on it, it was like me actually playing the game. They thought it was weird, so they went back to look at it again, and it wasn't there. It was just
Huh.
me. So YouTube and their algorithm picked up on that, and
You think you
by
got
that
hacked
time-
and somebody just changed the thumbnail?
So
That's
what
while
I've
you were
also
streaming.
learned is doing some research is that OBS has a whole malware like clone of it that looks like OBS. And if you click on it, it runs like OBS, but it's actually malware. So whenever you open it,
Wow.
it'll send all
That's
your data and
crazy.
information to somebody else.
So
And
what the
then-
version of OBS you had was the malware version?
I believe so
How do you
because
verify?
so
When'd you
when I
download
went
it?
I
so
just
when
don't
I
use
went back
OBS.
and I was thinking about it, like when did I download OBS and how did it look? They were saying that the first initial, like, you just type in OBS, that first one that's a sponsorship is actually the malware.
Yeah.
And that's the one that I clicked on. So it runs just like OBS, but
That's
in the background,
crazy. I've had
it's straight up
OBS. I
malware.
hadn't had to re-download it since I swapped out my to an M.2 drive a few years ago. So I
Yeah.
mean, if I'm assuming they would have did something by now if it was the malware.
So you think potentially that's what it was?
Yeah, and what's wild is I haven't used OBS since like 2022, 21. I was using Streamlabs, and it just wasn't working right
You
for
don't
my
think you don't
PC.
think but then you downloaded.
And then I
Okay.
went back to OBS, and lo
That's
and
why I
behold,
hate watching these videos.
That's why I don't use OBS, man.
And
They
there,
always
you
be
watch
trying
this
to
video on how to do something. They're like, oh, just go here, follow the link in the description, and click download, and this tool will help you out. I'm like, I hate doing that shit because I had to do it though because I bought a 64 gig flash drive, and you
Yeah.
can't format this to FAT32, which is what most devices accept. So I have a unusable 64 gig. I can only use it on my computer, and there's a simple guy showed it's a simple program. You don't even really download it. It just like opens up on and it formats it to FAT32, worked perfect. And I'm like, well, the only reason I did it because I know I gotta install Windows because I did something during the initial installation that doesn't let me get the Windows 11 upgrade. So I have to reinstall Windows, start fresh, and then verify that I can have Windows 11 upgrade, and then I have to do it again to get Windows 11 because my buddy told me that you want to do a fresh install Windows 11 anyway. So I'm gonna get my new CPU at the same time, and but yeah, it's a big pain. So
Yeah, I did that a couple. I want to say like a month ago. I reinstalled Windows on my computer.
So I'll be.
I was
Fun
gonna say,
process. It's fun.
when did you download that? Because
man, what's
Been out a
crazy
while.
is it's like, I think I downloaded it back in like, when I first got this computer, so it had to have been like 2020.
So right now, the
2021.
first
Really?
thing that pops
Yeah.
up is
The OBS, the potential OBS.
Yeah, and
Honestly, I
like
think if anything,
updated
Might
and
yeah, but I think
downloaded.
you might have just been hacked, like straight up, like at some point, like,
yeah,
I
it
mean,
couldn't
like,
have been that version was malware in 2020.
Yeah, I think
But
you
it-
probably
I-
got hacked.
And they waited this long to start.
Well, they just
messing
hacked
with you?
Terrell's.
No.
Terrell's had his YouTube channel just randomly hacked, and they was playing
Was
damn
that-
Bitcoin shit all day. So-
Yeah, Bitcoin hell.
and then all your friends, your subscribers reported it, which actually hurt you in the long run because then it was like mass reported, and I think you said that you had to like clear that up first or something.
Yeah, because they thought my channel at that point was like just straight up spam,
Mm-hmm.
and then that was like a whole saga for I want to say it took like almost like a week or so, a week or two. I want to say
to get it back.
because it wasn't just YouTube. That was also my Gmail, and then I think it fucked up my Discord. But the Discord I got back kind of quick, and it fucked up my other channels. So like I got back my main channel kind of quick, and then I had to go get my vlog channel back because my vlog channel just has Bitcoin on the side of it. And I'm just like, oh, great. Want to invest in
it was Elon
cryptocurrency,
Musk.
guy?
It was like Elon
Sounds
Musk
like-
too.
Sounds like PC problems to me.
No, that one for me was because I clicked on an email. It wasn't because of the emails would help me on
You
that
found
one.
an email or something?
You got spam.
No, so
somebody was
so
like
here-
offering like a
Yeah.
sponsorship or something.
it was like a
Yeah.
sponsorship. I clicked it, and then like a day or two later,
That's when it happened.
cryptocurrency,
Whoa.
welcome.
What was
You
it? A
got no
PDF you
spyware?
downloaded? You download like a PDF or something? PDF file?
It had like a folder. I downloaded.
There you go. That's okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm like,
Making
you can't
grandma
just
mistakes
do it.
over there, man.
Luckily,
Yeah,
at
homie.
my job, they test us like a couple times a month. With
Yep,
with
mine
those,
does.
Oh
with
yeah,
those
my job
emails.
started doing that recently.
And if it wasn't for that, I almost fucking clicked on a report suspicious in one of my emails. I'm like, wait, it's in the email. It says report suspicious in the email, and it was just get you to click a link. And I don't pay for Outlook, so I don't have like the good version. So I have to hit three dots, and then I report or block. It doesn't really do
I'll
a very
open
good
none
job.
of that shit, son.
But
I delete everything.
I get spammed every time if I don't check my email every couple days. Like if I go from the podcast to the next podcast, I'll have 100+ spam emails. In
100 plus?
Yeah.
Damn, no, I don't
it's
think that much.
ridiculous.
I've been slowly migrating my email to a different email.
That's what I'm
Like,
thinking of doing.
It's just been a process because of how much shit I've had over the years. But
One of my
Yeah,
emails got
it's-
hacked when I was a kid, man. But that's all.
it
And
got
I
all
think-
your.
I don't- honestly, it was probably because I was clicking on some crazy shit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But you're a kid. You like literally like I think I was like not even 13. I was probably like 11, and I remember like some of my family was like, "Oh, I got an email from you with something." I'm like, "Oh, it's a virus. Delete it. I guess I got to delete the email. I'm never gonna use it again. That's it. I'm gone." And then and I just never used that email again.
I had because I had my Windows login was before I think Microsoft purchased what was the old Windows or email service that is now part of Windows? It was like
Outlook, huh?
yeah, but
No.
before then it had a different
It
name.
was MSN before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
MSN.
just use MSN. Well, anyway,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
signed in with my Comcast, which is now Xfinity. So at some point, they gave me this most ridiculous email address. It's like 20 digits of numbers and some letters. I don't even know how to log into it, but I changed my Windows password just out of checking on. I was trying to do something. I was like, let me update my Windows password because I don't know if I did a password reset. And it showed I had like 1,200 emails on Outlook. I'm like, I don't use Outlook. And I look at the email address, and it was just like says like 20 digits long, random numbers. And my buddy's like, well, that's because you don't have a MSN or Outlook login that you're required now. But I'm like grandfathered in with my Comcast. And I had
That's
like
funny.
1,200 messages. They were all like, some old school might remember my Twist a Wrist motorcycle channel. I had it tied, and I had emails from this company Drift, who was like a GoPro competitor. They made a camera that mounted on motorcycles and helmets. There was like 100. Just the first 100 I saw was from this company, like sending out promotional stuff.
That's
And
hilarious.
I'm just like, man, that's crazy. But anyway.
Do you use authenticators, any of that stuff?
I do, yeah.
Okay. I made a habit of doing it for like everything now.
Yeah, I do that for
Not
everything.
for
Look,
everything, but
pretty
for a
much all
lot.
those things way too important, man. Way too
I
important.
need to start
Now
doing
for the
that.
next section of this video
What the
podcast,
hell is
let's talk
that?
about every one of these games individually. You guys said I could do this, so let's go ahead and get in.
Who the fuck told you that?
What
Juice, you out here giving permissions for
did
crazy
I
shit
say?
again, ain't you?
What did you just buy a lot? Is that a lot you bought?
And a lot. This man just picked up a tub. What do you mean?
No,
That's a whole damn tub full of games.
So let's
one of my storage
That's a lot,
tubs.
man.
Filled to the top too, man. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, he means
Now-
a lot of game, like
Yeah,
when you buy
like
a bunch of games in bulk.
Oh.
A lot.
Well, listen, I'm just
Not a
like
lot
leave me
of
alone,
games,
bro.
you weirdo. What's wrong with you?
So I watched the Carl
Duh.
Jobs video on the WADA game, whatever the grading, and then his
Yeah.
follow-up video, and it's just crazy. Like, how are these mofos not, like, I know there is a class action lawsuit but even they had a lawyer on. He's like, there's some of this stuff, I wouldn't guarantee you had, like, they would lose the case. Like, there's enough to say, well, this was just, I forget the word, like, advertising fluff to, like, you're allowed a certain amount of, like, bullshit to, like, promote your product. And so some of the stuff they were saying that basically just they just manufactured that Super Mario Brothers was started at like $3,000, and then the next time they were just buying it to themselves. Like, the guy was buying it at the auction. He was buying his own copy of the game, and next time he bought it for $30,000, and then it went to $100,000. Well, then another guy that worked for the company bought it for $300,000 or whatever. They just manufactured these price
$1
increases.
million one,
And then it went for $1 million,
Wow.
and then they were on Pawn Stars saying, yeah, this is going to be $1 million game, and you own it, and you work for the company, or you get some affiliation with the company that's going to sell it, like that. But she said, yeah, some of it's not so clear cut here. There is some leeway,
bullshit.
and I'm like, these mofos should be in jail, like, for what they're doing, like.
They might end up in jail.
But then the thing is most game collectors weren't actually spending this amount. It was just investment companies and rich people. So it's not like it was hurting. It's not like regular game collectors were paying these prices. But it ended up, the result is, even though it's come way down, they're still way higher than they were. Like, a sealed copy of a game that was maybe $80 is now going to be $800. But during the peak, they sold a copy of, like, Madden, the original Madden, for $40,000 or something, and then the next one sold for $20,000, and then now one sells for like $800. That's how far they've dropped in since.
Yeah, and the people who jumped into this and spent $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 on these games are looking stupid as hell.
Some investment companies bought a game for like $1 million, and then now it sold for when they finally were able to sell it was like $80,000. So they lost
hilarious.
a shit ton of money on it, and they were just buying it like an investment.
Beautiful.
It's just like those skyscrapers by Central Park there, those thin ones. Most people don't even live in it. They just buy it as an investment. Like, these rich people buy these
people buying art and shit,
$20-30 million apartments, condos, or whatever, and they don't even live in them, and that's just like an investment. So, but the end result was me like, man, it would be nice to just, like, at least have a couple of those, like, sealed copies of some of those games, like that.
Yeah, but if you don't already own that shit, you're not. What, are you gonna go out and buy it now?
Yeah, well,
you're gonna be spending a ton of money, and then that shit might even be worth it in the end. I'm just saying. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying people in general.
Yeah.
Who are trying to get in on this whole, the gaming boom. I'm like, bro, like, if you don't already own this stuff, buying it today, what's that gonna get you?
Or if you didn't buy them before, like.
Yeah, there's no way to predict, like, what's gonna be like an expensive game. You can make some, like, I'll buy stuff at cheap, and I'm like, okay, as long as I know I can at least make my money back on this shit, I'm not gonna spend stupid amounts of money on some game that's gonna depreciate. And it's got to be a console. Obviously, it can't be a fucking Switch game. Like, I'm not gonna spend a ton of money. It has to be something that's old, and then people already know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm lucky enough to have a ton of shit that's pretty expensive that I paid nothing for, or next to nothing.
Yeah, you have that
Back
what
in-
what is it on the Game Boy? What's that?
Yeah,
the
fucking
expensive
I didn't
one?
even pay for that. Somebody gave me that shit. The Castlevania Legends, that's
Yeah.
over $1,000. And it's like, who knew? Like nobody was sitting around back when that game came out and was like, oh, this game gonna be worth something. And even then it's only $1,000. It's not like
Well, it's just
20,000.
crazy. It's like the dude, the two guy, or I think it's two guys. Maybe it was just one of the guys was involved in the same scheme in the '80s with coins, and then he's the one funding these,
All right.
starting the grading company, and then
Looking for his next grift.
the other people involved are now the auction house and they're tied together, and they're just completely inflated the prices, but it's like it's just stupid. And it's
bro,
like they took over. It's like they could pick it. You
So
can really
offending.
pick anything.
It's like Mario 64, the most popular fucking game on the N64. Really? That
yeah,
game?
well, that's the thing. They hide
Like, are you stupid?
the population numbers, so then a bunch of people got their game, their Mario 64 is graded, and they're all like 9.5s or higher, and then each time a different version, not a person's different copy sold, they're just each one's sold for less and less. They're not going up. The next one isn't going for 2 million. It's just these guys they kept basically
like
buying it for more just to
copy,
make other people want to pay more.
If you got a sealed copy of Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine for N64, that would be something, because it's like, fuck, those games, they didn't even sell that game. They only rented it at Blockbuster. So if you have a sealed copy of that, then you got some shit.
That would
but
be
Mario
worth something.
64?
Yeah.
Mario 64? Like that's why I like stuff like Stunt Racer. They're not great games. It's the fact that they were like Blockbuster exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have a sealed copy of that shit, how? First of all, did you work at Blockbuster and hide that bitch? Like, how did you get that? So
Yeah, I could see those games being worth something. Yeah, I can
Right.
understand a rare
they are worth, but even those games are only worth a couple grand if you have it sealed. Like, that's not 1.5 million. Get that shit out of here.
and it's just stupid. But in the end of the day, I was just like, man, I wish I would have had some of my actually had some NES games instead of just my grandpa. Basically, I had some games that were mine, and then when my cousins got the system, I was like, oh, I can't play the games anymore. I just gave them the damn games with the system, and because my grandpa was like, all right, your younger cousins are getting the NES now. You had it for 3 years or whatever.
You don't get to keep it no more.
No, and it would be nice.
Honestly, at this point, just having physical fucking games, you hold on to the bitches for 20, 30 years, all them bitches are going to be, because there going to be no fucking physical games anymore. So at some point, every fucking thing you own physically is going to be worth a lot of money. So hold on to it. That's all you got to worry about. Just keep whatever you got. Don't go out there and spend crazy money.
Unfortunately for me, the only sealed game I have, somebody posted a picture of it. Was it last week? The codename Steam.
Yeah, I have it.
There was just a bunch of them, like somewhere.
Yeah.
Where were you at?
I was in was it Second and Charles, I believe is the name of the store. It sells like a bunch of like older.
They had like a dozen
games.
sealed codename Steams
for like $10, I bet.
One day,
nothing.
Codename Steam will have
One day
its time.
Abraham Lincoln will rise from the dead and
I'll get it graded.
place.
It's a great fucking game, people, by the way.
It is a really good
I heard the
game.
demo was
All
solid.
you need,
The disrespect
need
is
for-
wild to me.
you just need a viral video for that game.
Me,
or something.
Nia, the video
Robert,
game
you need to make it, man.
people that
I
care
will
about
make
this
one.
fucking
I
game.
want you to be the
One
hero
day
we
my
deserve.
backlog will go crazy out of that video, and that's what will put it to stardom.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna play that banjo until I
A bunch
die,
of
dog.
copies of Zombie U. They're like fucking $5 a piece. I bought a bunch of copies of Star Fox Zero. They were stupid cheap. I bought a bunch of Starlink Battle, the starter kit with the
Yeah,
Star.
look, I already regret. I wish I bought the Starlink for like whatever.
they were giving them bitches away.
Yeah, they were
They were-
really cheap at the end.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
That's like a no-brainer to me.
Are they
but
worth
unfortunately, I
something
didn't
now?
pick it up.
No, probably.
No, not right now. But they've
But
up
they
in
will
value
be.
already.
They
Yeah, they've
will
up
be.
in value already. But I mean,
But
That's
they're
like,
higher than they were like a few years ago. That was really nice. That was a really
Yeah.
good price.
I'm gonna buy a bunch
It's
of Star Wars
a good
Outlaws
investment.
in a couple weeks when it's $20.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
that's crazy.
I gotta
Ain't
say,
it wrong, bro?
I got moral.
it definitely reviewed a little bit better, I guess, than I was expecting. It's got like a 77, so people are saying it's pretty
That's
solid.
not bad.
But definitely some
Yeah.
glitches. Seem like every reviewer
Yeah.
that I've seen said there's some bugs. And it's like they just released Avatar not even 10 months ago, and they got another like big game out. It's like they need more time.
I'm sure I'm gonna have a blast with that game in a year when I play it for $12.
Yeah, and it's the ACG guy I watch. I feel like he's the most unbiased of any reviewer probably I've ever seen, and he just buys the game like Black Myth. He didn't accept their terms for the free copy. I don't know if that was the preview or the actual review, but he said, it starts off really good, and then it's just like kind of with Avatar, just kind of gets a little repetitive with the missions and stuff. But I still enjoyed Avatar.
Ubisoft game,
Mm-hmm.
by the way.
Right.
Ubisoft. Fucking
And
yeah.
introvert
That's their
Maxine for
formula.
the £2 for that light bill.
Oh, shit.
Thanks, man.
Oh, that light bill.
That's what my dad
I'm about
calls
to
it.
For that
Hey
light
man,
bill.
we do it for the
I
light
call
bill.
it
Huh?
the electric bill personally, but
No, we call it a light
That's a
bill.
light bill. That's an old school.
I'm a
Uh,
it's
turn
more
up the
my AC
brightness on
bill
my-
than anything because I don't leave a lot of lights on. That's for sure.
and then,
I turn that light on real quick. Home.
back in the day you had to call and say,
Maximum brightness. Oh shit, my light's off.
I want to get the light bill put in my mama name.
Ooh, oh shit.
How many times, Robert, have you ever been yelled at for leaving a light on?
Boy.
When I grew up, that's my dad was always complaining.
Yeah.
Right. Who left all
Never.
the lights
You gotta
on in
think
the
about it.
kitchen?
You gotta think about it. I'll tell you
Who left these lights on in the kitchen?
523 times. That's what.
Yeah,
I'll
it
give
was-
their ass
for
what
me,
they
for
let
me,
this light
for
on
me it was
in the
actually
kitchen.
for me it was
Did
the
you turn the
water,
light
like,
off in the basement?
For me, it was the water.
Saying
Like,
some
you
reliving
take a
trauma.
long shower.
Oh
Yeah, turn
yeah.
that lit up.
Right.
I was never a person that left the light on. to
Do you
be
think
honest.
light grew on trees or something?
Right.
Isn't there a song about leaving the light on?
Dad, I don't think that's the saying.
Boy,
That is-
close them doors and turn
I
them
mean-
lights down.
I mean, there's somebody who says turn off the lights and light a candle, but
Don't buy multiple
Turn up,
copies.
man.
Oh yeah, isn't Outlaws? Wasn't that the game that you
Robert,
can
is that
you
Robert?
can't even play the single player unless you have the system online? I think that was that game.
No.
Back
That
then,
was-
always
that was-
online, baby.
Yeah, it was last week.
What game?
I assume it was that game.
Or was out? Or was it? You sure?
That's what.
That's
Well,
some
Lenny just made a joke, so I don't know. Maybe
That's
he.
some bullshit right there.
He could
That's
be
true.
lying to you, man.
Yeah, because it was on. It was. I want to say it was on a PS5. Someone showed their screen. It said, "Please connect to the internet to complete install or whatever." But
So yeah, yeah. Apparently, it's to install it. You needed a one-time internet connection, which is pretty ridiculous.
That's
For the
ridiculous.
yeah,
one-
because
for the one
like he
time,
said,
man,
if the
come on.
servers are turned off, well, how's that going to happen in the future? But I don't think they're
Don't
thinking
worry,
about
it's a
that
new,
for
it's,
these
a,
games.
it's a Ubisoft game. We won't
No
be playing
future?
that long.
right.
Don't
We
come on
won't be
over
playing
there.
long enough. It's a
They're going to
Ubisoft
be.
game.
You just pay for their service to play all their old games. You don't need to.
How much money I got? I want my money now. I don't care about no future.
But
Especially Ubisoft.
What was that commercial? I'm broke and I want my money now.
I want it
Right.
now.
what do you guys
It's
think
my
of?
money and I need it now.
There we go. Here it is.
That's it.
It's my
That's it.
money and I need it now.
Yeah, I
What'd you
remember
guys,
that.
what'd you guys think of Jeff Keighley? How the joyfulness at which that announcement for Indiana Jones coming to PS5? Did you see that? He was like so
He's
giddy about it. Like, dude,
Oh, yeah, I
Because
didn't-
fuck
it
Microsoft.
it was so
games, man.
awkward too. It's like people were like
We
looking.
talking how Xbox don't care about its core fan base anymore. Can we talk about that?
Like,
all right, T. Tell him,
Is
T.
it
Tell
true?
him.
But that just
Tell
shows
me. Bitcoin
Jeff
is
Keighley's definitely like.
He's a bot, man.
Would he
He's
been that
a bot.
excited to announce a game coming to Xbox? Like,
No.
he was like, it was making this big deal, and it's like they didn't show at that point they didn't show any new footage or anything. It was just Indiana Jones spring PS5. Like he was expecting people to just like lose their shit over this announcement.
Oh, yeah?
I'm saying
I didn't see that.
the game going to
You did?
PS5 is.
I didn't either. I didn't actually see it, but I heard about it.
Yeah. I'm not saying the game going to PS5 is the problem and why Microsoft doesn't care. I'm saying, did you have to say that right then? Couldn't you have held that to January? Let the bots
Yeah.
have something. Like,
Exactly.
like they didn't have to say that at that point,
Yeah.
but they did it. Why?
Yeah.
It's like, and
They
they
could've
keep
waited
doing
till
shit
the end of the
like
year.
this. It's like I can understand some of these bots when they get mad about this stuff. It's like, yeah, I don't care. We know games are going to the other console. They've already kind of conceded to that, but they don't like how the shit. It's all disjointed and it's all over the place, and they just throw shit out there.
Well, it's because it's low key. It feels like it's disrespecting the fans.
All right,
Like,
here's
It's
the
disrespectful. I think
here's
that's
the
disrespectful.
announcement. Let's hear his.
An
these-
epic global adventure.
You actually
This is
pulled
how
this off.
excited he
Jones
is.
and the Great
You gonna pull
Circle.
this off.
Check this out.
If you zoom in, you can see he had a boner in his pants. It was,
No, man. Why did you zoom in at all?
told you
there was
zoom
a
in like
connection
20
between
times.
range
Nah, man. I don't do that.
You had to zoom in 28.
Great
Need
circle.
a nunchuck?
Does it exist? Is it the key to some lost
You
power?
heard?
That's up to you to uncover.
The
Definitely sounds
Xbox,
like Troy Baker.
The adaptive joystick, but they made
I'm
it.
Troy Baker,
they made
and
a,
I play indie.
a nunchuck.
Oh, I didn't
They
see
made
this
it
part
sound
of
I'm
it.
playing a character
They got it
so
all
many
kind of
people,
shit.
myself included, look up to.
Was this the
They got all
As
kinds
I
of
should.
announcements.
Explorer. But you're
There it is.
probably
Here
wondering
it goes.
when the game comes out, right? Well,
He's so good.
Right?
Listen to him.
He's so happy.
And look, you piss you off.
First you get December. That's I kind of was always thinking
I
December.
think it's just weird. I just think that's weird.
So you get the release date for Xbox.
there
right?
you have it. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming out this December for Xbox Game Pass and PC. But there is one more thing that Machine Games and Bethesda wanted to share with you about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
They wanted to share you a photo
Why
of him
didn't you-
pissing.
Why didn't they just
Yeah,
wait? Like you
yeah,
said, why didn't
yeah.
they wait till?
They could have waited.
The game's
It's
coming to
January.
PlayStation
That is a
5
little
in spring
disrespectful.
of 2025. All right,
Like, here's the
before
thing.
we wrap up O&L,
Here's
we
why
do
it's
so
have
weird.
It's not just stupid
One
for the
final
fans.
game.
Here's how it's stupid. Just in general, are you trying to get people to dig in the Game Pass or not?
And
So you
and
just
I'm not gonna
told
take away
some
from
guys who
rebounding,
potentially could have said,
real
"All right, I can still
rebounding,
get Game
'cause there
Pass.
is
I really like
something to be
Indiana
said for
Jones."
that.
You
But
just
the
told them,
way
that,
it's
if they're a Sony guy, you can just wait. You don't need to get in. Like, are you trying to make Game Pass or get more Game Pass members, or not? Like, I don't
that is
understand the messaging. It's stupid at this point. It's one thing to be like, oh, or this game's coming out on PlayStation also. That's not even the biggest problem. The bigger problem is like, here's the huge game you got coming out that could drive some Game Pass, engagement, but for non-Game Pass guys or non-Xbox guys, all right, I guess I'll dig in for a month or two and play the game. You just took that away. Just like, oh no, I'll just wait now. On my
You know
PS5.
what it felt like to me? It felt like you being like, "Hey, Microsoft, I like your product and I like what you do. I'm gonna subscribe to your Game Pass. I'm gonna also buy your Xbox Series X. What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? You think we care? Buy it on PlayStation. What?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, this, people call Phil a liar forever. This does make him a liar because when he talked about Game Pass, he said Game Pass is about delivering high quality. I could fucking quote
Mhm.
games
Quality experience.
Day.
Yeah.
that only where Game Pass exists, and I'm like,
He said it. That
Well,
means it's true now. He's a fucking
now,
liar.
now you're a liar.
Yeah,
At
because
some point, you became.
remember the little. It felt like a rushed, like, hey, we're gonna have a presentation tomorrow. We need to discover this when the news came out or the leaks about the games, and they made this special thing, and it kind of felt like unnecessary. And then it was like, yeah,
It's weird.
there's only four.
and-
It's only these 4 games.
And
Like-
by the way, at that time, because people were saying, "Is it going to be in Indiana Jones?" No, that shit had to be in development at that point. If it's coming in spring next year, it was in development for
Mhm.
PlayStation 5. So you were lying, or you weren't telling the whole truth.
I was
So-
trying.
And
to
yeah, they
not
did a
tell you the
special,
truth.
whatever they called it, the Xbox
Yeah, a
thing
business. What do they call it? Like a business something?
update or something, and
It was a
It's
business
just-
meeting, guys. Jeez.
business update to the gamers? Like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
that?
listen.
And then
I'm gonna show you my stocks, and you're gonna get excited
didn't
about
the head
it.
of
Okay?
Xbox also do another one where she kind of confirmed that?
Here's my thing. Why even do that? Just be like, why do that and then pretend that, oh no, these certain stuff ain't coming? Just say this shit's coming at this point.
And it's a I mean,
It's
I think
dumb.
Bethesda
It's dumb.
games. I think they're, they already said Doom was
Right.
the new Doom was going to come to PS5, so I don't know why the
You
the
think
secrecy.
Starfield ain't going to PS5? Come on.
Somebody
Come on.
it was like a German, I don't know if it was Amazon or something. Forza Horizon 5 popped up for PS5 and then was. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but that's what someone was
I feel
reporting.
like Forza, Halo, and Gears are off limits. I feel like you got to have Game Pass, or you got to have an Xbox for those.
Yeah, that one might not be true, but that one's the only one where I was like, that's the series that I wasn't ready to play 5 only a couple years after I played 4, but I still like the series. Anyway, Introvert also did another 10 pounds, man. Thanks. He asked a question. I don't want to get into that question,
Thank you.
but then
the question?
he did ask about Tears of the Kingdom. He says there's a lot of people who are saying it's disappointing. I haven't seen any videos like that. I haven't played it in a while, but I still like Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys?
Yeah, Jay. I don't think. Again, this is not a reason to not get an Xbox. If you want, the console experience, and you want Game Pass, get an Xbox. I'm just saying for core fans, which I'm not one, but I'm saying I understand now why you would be mad. It's like you don't give a shit at this point. Your messaging is all over the place.
And then basically what he said. I mean, you might have said this. I was reading the comment and answering Introvert in the chat, so I might have missed this. But Phil Spencer basically said, "Hey, Microsoft's been very kind to us, giving us some, money to buy, and we need to return we need to return on their investment." Is basically what he was saying.
They're kind, bitch. They wanted to lock your ass and make you do what they want to do. That wasn't a kind gesture. Like a lot of fans are saying, if this was going to be the outcome, I'd rather them never have bought ABK. And I feel where you're coming from. Like instead of buying ABK, how many fucking new games and new IPs you could have started, or new studios you could have built with that $80 billion. Like, come on, bro. Like, if this is going to be the outcome, you're going to turn third party. I think a lot of the Xbox fans are like, just keep ABK. We don't really need that.
Yeah, I kind of felt, I don't know. I didn't really care for that purchase. I just felt like it was too much. Too many different companies they would own at that point. But if they're just going to be a publisher but also have a home console.
Yeah. That's why, once they started saying that they were going to put it on everything, I was like, well, then at the end of the day, does it really matter? They're still going to put it on everything.
So what do you think, any chance of something being announced in the developer direct tomorrow, or is it tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Any more Xbox, like a Sea of Thieves? Maybe it just took a little extra time.
Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones.
No, man.
Indiana Jones.
Oh, man.
That'd come to Switch 2, though.
I think there's a
Switch
chance
2.
of a Sea of Thieves running native on Switch. It ran on Xbox One.
So you still gotta cut it down.
I'm confused. Like, so is my God, they just got acquired by the studio, the
Hi-Fi Rush.
Gameworks. Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush. That still seems like a viable Switch game to me.
It could be, and my heart would be so happy.
Do that at this point.
Well, they had literally it was meant to be on the platform, so I wonder if that's
Microsoft still own the IP. You think they just
that's what I'm wondering.
Disband the studio?
I don't
think they would keep the IP at this point. Once somebody else snatched it up, sell it to them.
I'm pretty sure they don't own the IP anymore, because I remember them
I'm so tired of them not owning
was
IPs
the
for
people.
shit.
They said that also of Hi-Fi Rush, which is why I would think they would own the IP, like they kept it.
Well, they own a lot of IPs.
I think sounds like that game would have to be performance would have to be pretty locked in for that style game to work. To be the gameplay. I don't know. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying it has to be 60, but I don't think you want fluctuating frame rates with a rhythm style combat like that. I don't
No,
know.
it can't fluctuate. It has to be locked, whatever it is. It has to be locked. It has to be locked
Yeah,
25.
I think they can do it.
It has to be locked 25 frames.
What else just got Avowed? They just said they put it at 30 so they could focus on like more high fidelity
Yeah, that's
stuff.
stupid.
And I mean,
Yeah, they say that shit,
I don't know.
and then a year later, they say, "Oh, here's a 60 frames per second version."
Yeah,
like they did with Starfield.
I did
I'm
think
like,
the game looked a lot better the last time they showed it compared to the first time. Graphically, I was like, man, this looks like what Avowed should look like. And then I was like, oh, it is Avowed.
"Oh, that is Avowed."
And I don't know that gameplay enough to say like, hey, that should have been 60. But I mean, 60 is always gonna look and feel better, especially turning.
Well,
I just don't like their
If they
excuse,
can do
man. I don't like their
at 60.
Yeah.
They can do Avowed at 60.
My problem is that is like we've seen for already over a generation that you could do performance mode and you could do a
They're
resolution
lying when
mode.
they say this shit.
Just do that. That's
We
it.
want to do a
It's
more
so simple.
cinematic. They're full of shit when they say that. They just want more time. They want to put the game out, make their goddamn money, and then they want to have more time to get you to 60 frames.
I will
And because clearly they can do it. So
I will say, looking at the performance mode of Black Myth on PS5, it's not looking too good. They use like a lot of frame generation, which doesn't help your input latency. It's just fake frames to make it look a little bit smoother, and it looks really bad in that mode. Like it looks like super, like the textures have like a super sharpness filter, and then this blurry mess of frame generation, which I think's a stupid thing that PCs have been pushing for a while. And I'm like, yeah, I would have to play it at 30 if I got it on PS5, and I don't know. I'm sure it'd be all right after you get used to it, because I played other Souls games at 30, and they're fine. But I know it's not a Souls game, but similar style combat. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be looking and probably upgrading my PC after I get my CPU. I might just buy a 4070 or something.
Oh, we can't let this Donnie Arts comment go by.
Whatever.
Funny enough, I think the one persona I saw that was disappointed in tears was Zeltic, at least in some lower aspect and how it does not explain why certain things are gone. Oh, okay, I didn't read that part. I was gonna say I'm not a persona, but I was also disappointed.
Introvert,
wow.
Introvert saying he's disappointed. I mean, I don't care if you don't like the game. Don't bother. I'm not as attached to that as like Breath of the Wild.
Zeltic.
But even if you don't like it, like I was thinking
Again,
about this today. I feel like as with social media and stuff, it's like people really put a lot of emphasis on if somebody doesn't like something they like they get offended by that, or they can't like somebody if they don't like the same thing they like. Like I was gonna tell you guys, I know this isn't related, but I don't give it. Like honestly, I don't care if you guys voted for Trump or Harris. I don't care. Like it doesn't matter to me what you guys choose, who you guys choose to vote for. Maybe some of you would be bothered.
Spicy,
I just don't bother me. Like I don't. People make their own choices, just like in life. People can make their own choices. I don't.
Life, man.
I never
we
worried
gotta bring
about somebody.
politics into our gaming discussion.
Like I don't. I get upset. Like
Yeah, I feel like this came out of nowhere. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm just saying, like I don't care what you guys choose to like and not like. It sucks if you're gonna.
You care about
make
eating?
fun
If
of,
I prefer to eat peanut butter with jelly or syrup.
like if you're gonna make fun of something, or you maybe like a retro death, you make an accusation. The reason you don't like something is kind of possibly just factually untrue. I'll probably argue that and stuff, but as far as like.
But there's
He's a fucking
facts,
liar.
and then there's alternative facts.
There's like making just a pretty
Facts for
false
your
statement
facts.
about something as to why you don't like it, then I'll probably argue that. But if you just said straight up like he didn't like Control, I love that game. It's like, oh, that's disappointing, but I'm not mad at you for not liking the game. So just a comment on Introvert saying he'd be worried, he'd be triggered.
Control hasn't grabbed me either, so I can understand Retro. You're right, man.
Did you say Retro's right? What the fuck's going on?
Honestly,
Is
like
this the Twilight Zone? What the fuck is happening?
Hey, I tell you, we
Retro?
agree. Me and Retro.
Nah, I don't believe that.
I agree on
Something's
Retro
wrong.
with
Who's
Retro
dying?
on some things.
Who's sick?
We agree with a lot of stuff
Who's
with
sick?
Retro. We get it. We just make fun of him because he said some wild takes once in a while.
Yeah. Also,
Some
Retro
way-
wanted me to tell you guys, since he hasn't been on for a while, he finally thinks the Wii is better than the GameCube. He told me.
That's right. I
finally was
remember about
convinced.
that.
Me.
Yeah, okay.
Boom!
Forgot about that.
Got you, boy.
He finally
very
came to
true.
his senses.
Yeah.
Who tricked him? No, I'm just playing.
I mean,
forgot about
it
that.
sucks when, like, close friends and you don't like the same thing and you can't, like, discuss it. Like,
Yeah.
I
Without
think
making
of
him mad and shit.
one of the things I was thinking about was the Last Jedi. Remember Twilight and I think it was Twilight and T. You guys had the heated debate over that.
We was getting ready to throw blows.
Damn.
We couldn't throw blows because we were on a podcast.
I wanted the hands to fly though.
Oh yeah,
and maybe
I don't
Retro
remember that.
too. I think he liked
I was
that.
like, okay, well, yeah, bro. That's
Yeah,
not
that's it.
true, but you believe that. Believe that if you want to.
You know what's crazy? I don't know if I'm correct.
Star Wars, boy. Don't
If
mess
I-
with my Star Wars.
If I was one of those guys that made like really in-depth videos, like analysis and historic, like breaking down things, I really think The Last Jedi was the birth of a lot of the Star Wars critical, the critical Star Wars YouTube channels. I think, what do you guys think the Rotten Tomatoes
because that
is?
shit was woke, man.
What do you think
That's
of
why.
what do you think of the Rotten Tomatoes is for Last Jedi? If you,
Well, I already know it. It's one of the highest.
It's a high.
it's
a
like
high score.
91%.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
movie
But the
comes
critics-
out.
At
Everybody,
the end of the day, like I get it personally.
Critics are all shills.
I love that movie.
everybody I knew other than Robert and T,
Yeah.
like in the real, like people at work,
Yeah.
chat with you guys. People, everyone's like, that movie was stupid. Like, and then you see
What is the audience score?
I don't know.
It's like 50-some%.
That's what matters.
That's when people are like,
Actually,
what?
it might be lower. It might be lower than that. And
I
let's see.
really think, especially for the Star Wars fandom, that's when it's like, what is going on here?
That broke the Star Wars fandom. That was the movie.
And then
that
that,
was absolutely the movie.
that started
but
the
then- but
attack
then,
on
bro,
fans.
I don't understand. Yeah, it's 41%. But at the same time, Rise of Skywalker is like way higher, and I'm like, what the fuck was the audience watching? Like that's why I don't get the communication for that. It was the opposite. The critics didn't care for Rise of Skywalker, while the audience did.
No.
And I'm like,
Well, okay, here's the thing with Rise of Skywalker, because even I was like, oh, that was all right. I think what happened was we gave it a pass because it was trying to fix all the shit that pissed us off in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't make it a good movie. It still sucked ass. But yeah, they were legit saying, hey, Ryan Johnson, that was a dumbass move. We're fixing that shit right here. And we changing that. Oh, the lightsaber thing, you reiterated how important the lightsaber was when Ryan Johnson was like, toss that shit.
Toss
like
it.
that movie was a straight up F you Ryan Johnson in many ways. And I think that a lot of people gave it a pass for that. But if you look at the movie, it's actually still ass.
Yeah.
It's actually
well, that's what, bro.
not a
It
good movie.
got it again for Rise of Skywalker. The audience is like 86%, and I'm like,
I think it's like what T
I think-
said. They
I
were
mean,
just
like-
like expecting it to be way worse.
Because even I liked it for a short minute, and then I came to my senses. So like, that's really bad. Actually, it's actually, it might be worse than
Well,
Last
at the end
Jedi.
of the day, again, unfortunately, and this how I view it as Disney was listening way too much to the fans, and they're like, "Holy shit, people didn't really like Last Jedi. We got to do this. We got to change this. We got to do." It's like,
Yeah.
bro, you did it. You did
They were
Last
what brothers
Jedi.
did.
Just stick to your goddamn guns and finish whatever you needed to do. Like
Yeah.
if you make people
too.
get even more pissed, fuck it.
Hey, well,
At
here's
least
the
you don't have,
problem:
like,
is
pussies.
the guy making the third movie, the director of Jurassic World, I forget his name now. Like
Oh, yeah.
He's,
Colin Trevorrow.
he knew
Colin.
some of the points, but once that came out, he was probably like, "What the fuck how am I supposed to follow? Like, how's my story
Yeah.
supposed to follow that up?"
The franchise and they said, do whatever you want to do. You can write this shit and everything. They gave the man too much goddamn power, and
Well, what they did wrong, and we all know, is like in the end of the day, they should have planned the trilogy from the very beginning.
right, that was the
Instead
right.
they went movie by movie, and
Because most people enjoyed The Force Awakens initially. It wasn't till some
Yeah,
time.
I still like The Force Awakens.
It's still a good. It's still a solid movie to watch. I still don't like anything
until
they
they
set
get
up.
to
I love it.
until they get to the giant Death Star. I was like, oh come on, you could do better than that.
It still
but-
bugs me that JJ doesn't understand space in so many of his movies. It's so
Yeah.
true. It shoots one beam and somehow splits into and then all those planets were all within the same same system. All the Republic planet. Maybe they are, maybe they weren't. I wouldn't assume. I just assumed they were spread out.
It was
more.
confusing. It's like I didn't. Was that? I was like, I was thinking, was that
Sorry.
Coruscant? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, we
Let's just destroy it. But anyway, the point is if I was like, and maybe somebody made a video like this, I think that's where the lines were drawn in the sand, and that's when Ryan Johnson started calling the Star Wars fans names, and I think that was
you can't have the directors on fucking Twitter talking shit.
I
to
really
the
feel
fans.
like the scores were just. I don't know what people who watched the critics were thinking when they watched it. I don't know what they.
Racist and
Look, at the end of the
misogynist
day,
don't help you either.
I agree with the
Like,
critics.
that's
So I
stupid.
love that fucking movie, man.
And most people didn't. They're like, why does this have a 91? And we think it just ruined Star Wars. I think that was the birth. I don't know the timing of everything. I feel like that birthed a lot of the Star Wars hate channels.
It should on a lot. If you grew up with the fucking prequel trilogy, it might not be that stinging to you. But bitch, I watched the original movies thousands of times. I got all the goddamn novels and everything. I know what Star Wars is, and I watched The Last Jedi, and Last Jedi basically bent over, pulled his fucking pants down, and took a shit all over all that stuff that I knew about Star Wars. And so I'm gonna have a problem with that when you turn fucking Luke Skywalker into a angry Hobbit, hermit. Excuse me,
I like
angry
that,
hermit.
man.
I like
that was
hobbits. Hobbits are cool.
Like-
And he was gonna kill Kyle. Come on, we'll move on. We'll talk about.
We can be in this shit all day. So let's just.
Honestly, I was up.
Made Sandstrom leave.
I
Jesus.
couldn't fall asleep for like an hour and a
Since
half
I didn't
after
work.
I laid down the other night. I was thinking so much about
Greatness.
how they
Fantastic.
fucked up that trilogy, how I don't care about the character Rey, and that they're doubling down and making another movie. Anyway, Nintendo partner direct.
I did care about Rey. They got Rey right in the first movie.
One of the
She was
highest
one of the
rated
best parts.
Star Wars
I don't
for a
wanna
reason.
think.
Except for-
Goddamn greatness. Greatness.
She's just. It just like it got
Until
worse.
the end. I was like, why you gotta do that? That was my only problem. But
I don't own Rise of Skywalker on Blu-ray.
I did see a shot of Daisy Ridley from like a magazine photo shoot, and she had some like high cut shorts on. I was like, it was looking pretty good. From
Ray-
Ridley.
Daisy really,
Ray was
look. Well,
Ray
I
was
don't
not-
have Daisy really.
I don't think she's a good actor though.
no,
Well, what other movies have you seen her in though? To be fair, exactly.
That one movie with
the train one.
Damn, that was such a.
It was like the-
exactly. He didn't give you a chance to
No,
answer.
it
that.
was it was
I'm
the
not-
murder
I'm not-
mystery.
I know. I already know he didn't see it in anything else. But in
The
any
murder
case,
mystery movie. What's it called? Oriental Express, whatever. Or
Yeah.
was that
You saw her
the
in the
Nile?
movie. We talked about this shit. It was
It's like
was it? I think it was on the. Is it on the Nile?
it was
Yeah, I
in
think
one
it
of
was
them.
Oriental.
Not-
I have
definitely-
it, but I don't know which one.
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
in.
Well, but she was good in Sometimes I Think About Dying, a really good indie film that I think people should check out. But
Yeah, I'm sure Hayden Christensen was good at some shit too. That'll make him a good actor. Like I like Hayden Christensen, and
Yeah, he's not very
you know,
good
that
either.
movie.
That Life is a
And,
House is amazing.
Shattered Glass, he was really good in that, but that was it. I haven't seen him in anything else.
Did you
that
see
was
Life
like,
is a House?
I heard. I mean, I unfortunately didn't see the movie, but she was just in
That was
literally
good.
just.
I think that's the
she
movie
was
that
just
got
in a
him the-
movie. She was just in a movie like as a swimmer. And apparently she's really good in it, but I didn't see the movie.
Maybe
Unfortunately.
it might be a testament to the director when you get a good performance, because
Mhm.
directors do pull good performances out of okay
And it
actors.
could be the role. It could be she needs the right
role,
role.
right.
Like what's her face from Game of Thrones, Khaleesi. She plays a
Oh,
good,
yeah,
goofy, like funny, quirky character, but
She's not been good in anything else I've
she
seen. her
doesn't
in.
have much range outside of that.
She's trying, man.
And since we're talking about this, I do want to call out one Star Wars channel that I think the guy's not very bright. Star Wars Theory. He might know a lot about the actual like
You
lore.
say he's not bright.
That guy he's not very bright.
What is happening?
That's cool. That's cool.
He was in a podcast where they were talking about the Lord of the Rings, the animated thing. They were reacting to it, and somebody's like, "Who the Hera, whatever, the female character? Like, who was she?" He was like, "Who was she in Lord of the Rings?" And the guy's like, "Oh, she was that Gollum character." And he's like, she was Gollum." He thought he was serious. First of all, they just said it was 200 years before Lord of the Rings, and he's like, "Who was she in Lord of the Rings?" And then I watched him react to like the
Red
the
Dot Media guys making fun of him.
No, the pitch meeting of the act. It was either the Acolytes, and he didn't laugh. He didn't get like the jokes. I'm like, anyway, I don't like his channel. And
What the fuck is that?
I'll dip in from time to time.
he might have. Maybe he makes some good
war stuff.
He probably knows lore and all that. I would hope.
Yeah, he's really good on lore. And he was one of the guys that were made fun of when Luke Skywalker showed up in Mandalorian. He was one of the guys crying, and he was legitimately crying. Like he is a legit Star Wars fan. That's why I'll give him a little credit. I'm not like a fan of his or anything, but I do appreciate that he is a true Star Wars fan. So.
Also, you watched the show, the Acolyte. They did not renew.
Yeah, I watched the entire show. And here's my thing. The show sucked, okay? It sucked. But you know what? It had some stuff there. And people ask me, like even Juice asked me, why are you watching this shit? Like, it doesn't... There are good things in there. And that's what kept me watching it. And that's the saddest part. It wasn't just terrible. There's a lot of people want to run with narratives. Oh, it was this awful from the beginning. There were good things in there. And that's the only reason I watched it, because there were good things. They set up some good stuff. The fucking fight choreography was some of the best shit I've seen since the movies. Like, it was some really good fight sequences in there. And so there was some good stuff. Some lore. There was some good lore ideas, but it just didn't hit. And that was the most disappointing thing about the show. That's why the show sucked as bad as it did, because the stuff that they were setting up did not hit, or it wasn't. Oh my God, that wasn't a big impactful thing like I thought it was going to be when it came down to the end of it. So it was disappointing. It was more disappointing than terrible. It was just disappointing.
I thought it was funny though, because there was people who actually were arguing semantics. It wasn't canceled. No, they didn't cancel the show. They just didn't renew it. There's people literally unironically arguing that.
Talk about cope. That's cope, man.
And then they pulled the merchandise off the website, and it's possible they could pull the show off Disney Plus like Willow, but who knows?
And a lot of people were going out there. What's her name? Headland, the showrunner, and they're like, again, a lot of the fucking grifters and shit, the anti-woke stuff. I was like, that show really wasn't about any of that. Like, it had one questionable sequence, but that was it. It wasn't about any wokeness or any kind of...
All I've ever seen is just questioning her writing ability, and she didn't even, in an interview, she didn't even seem to know where the characters were going anyway. Like, that's what
Which is baffling, because she is a Star Wars fan. She actually is a Star Wars fan, so that was baffling to me. And I was holding on, hoping the shit was going to land at the end, hopefully. And it didn't.
I think it should have been worried when she said she wanted to make it feel like Frozen meets, what was that movie? Was it Fight Club? No. She said she wanted a Star Wars movie that felt like Frozen cross another movie that was nothing.
That's interesting. That's actually really interesting to me. I don't have a problem with that, actually.
Anyway, and I also don't like, they're pretty anti, the typical Star Wars fans. Of course, they're all one group. There's a lot of diversity in Star Wars fandom, but obviously the core long running is mostly guys. There's been a lot of guys. Historically, it's mostly, or I wouldn't say mostly, but higher percentage of male fans initially. I don't know about these days, but doesn't mean there isn't like diehard Star Wars fans that are female. But
no, they are. They definitely are. I mean, again, I thought Headland was one. I thought she was a diehard.
And just because somebody's a fan of something doesn't guarantee it's going to be good. Look at Warcraft. Exactly. I don't mind the movie, but there's a lot of diehard World of Warcraft and original Warcraft
I
fans
still want to
involved.
play Warcraft. I thought it was a solid movie.
'Cause-
Man.
I thought it was
So what
solid.
happens is you end up making Star Wars fan fiction, and that's what Acolyte felt like.
That's what I was.
It
That's
felt
what it
like
felt like. And then hearing her
Star
interview,
Wars
like she
fiction.
didn't seem to really know what these characters. There wasn't a lot for him on the page. She's the villain guy. It's like, well,
And he was one of the most interesting things about the show, and that really troubles me for her to say that because,
come on, introvert, don't make that dumb argument. Everybody knows. We've cleared this up for how many years now? 10 years. He's not the last samurai. It's a story about the last samurai, plural. It's not. He wasn't the last samurai.
no, he wasn't the samurai. He wasn't the samurai.
You know, and it was I thought it was more based on like some actual, but it's more basically the movie was based on what do you call it, a fantasized version of samurai. That's what is that book called? Damn it, it was written like 80 years ago or 100 years ago, and a lot of samurai movies, games and stuff are based upon this like fantasized version that these samurai were all these like never seen it, never will.
Yeah.
You want the
I
digital
saw
code? You can see it.
another big part of this whole like Star Wars hatred. A lot of it came out of money. Like a lot of these Star Wars channels were not getting any views until The Last Jedi happened, and they started hating on it. I watched, and I was like, oh, your views are going up big time because you're complaining about all this shit that you at this point you're just making up issues that's not even in the goddamn movie. You're making them up because it's getting you views, and a lot of guys made a lot of subscriptions or got a lot of subscribers and money and views off of the turn that happened with The Last Jedi, and they just had to keep doing that thing because that was the only thing that was getting them views. So I don't trust a lot of these people.
And I just got to point this out too. The Last Samurai was heavily criticized, and it's got a pretty low critic score. I forget.
Heavily criticized.
I think I've had a 40-50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It was like a 50. Remember, I remember the Metacritic. We looking that up, and
It's
'cause it was
definitely, in my opinion, one
was
of the
it
most.
55? But that's honestly like a 55 is actually pretty decent for movies. a lot of movies don't get.
But when to like people that actually that I've talked to that watched the movie, it's held in such high regard, and then to like look back, and I remember the complaints, and that's what people were.
Last of the Mohicans and Dances with Wolves got Oscars. I don't want to hear nothing about. I don't know nothing about this
Last
shit.
of Samurai definitely didn't get any awards.
No.
And it did. And in Japan, I think
it was definitely Oscar bait, but it didn't quite get there.
It's a great movie, though. It's freaking phenomenal.
No, it's not bad. It's a good movie.
Honestly, I think it's one of Tom Cruise's best movies. But
better than this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's overrated.
Yeah, that.
You think this movie's overrated?
It's overrated as hell.
It's so overrated.
What?
It's solid, but
so overrated. It's a good movie, but it is very overrated.
It's not like.
Well, I guess it depends how overrated. I guess to what degree. Like if you think it's like a 10.
People talk about it
Top Gun
like
is like, it's a 70. It's not like a great
Chris
film.
Stuckman said, "Oh no, it was the last Mission Impossible." He says one of the best action movies ever made. The Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm like, whoa,
You gotta be kidding.
Whoa.
You gotta be kidding.
Calm down. It's Top Gun's also overrated in the home theater community. I mean, I played it for you. It does sound good, but people act like it's the best thing, and then you find out that almost every shot's CG. Like they were in the jet, but the cockpit, the actual jets were different. So everything you see, you see their real reactions. They're actually flying, but most of the time, everything else is CG. It's so well done, though.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
I'm fine with it, but they hyped it up. Oh, everything in camera, everything real. This is all real. But they were in these white jets with these weird markings on them, just so the people, anyone saw jets flying over, know they're not real. Almost
names,
the backgrounds, everything's almost entirely CG in that movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, Terrell dipped. He's like, "All right, I'm gone."
I'm done with this shit.
Physically walked out.
Top Gun. What's the story, Robert? Top Gun.
Oh, Top Gun Maverick?
Yeah, what Maverick?
I mean, look. At the end of the day, I'll be honest. It's been a while since I've seen.
No, what you doing? Don't look at the.
No, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I have to rewatch it to be honest with you. But I mean, from what look, I mean, I'm a guy that watches consumes way too much. But I mean, it's this older teacher guy. He's coming back and he's teaching the kids the pilots. I'm awful at putting me on the spot for describing shit.
I thought
I'm a
the whole John Hamm drama between. Why was he so against him? Like I never understood that. But and the mission itself was kind of.
That was very 80s. I roll with that because that's very 80s.
Yeah, but wasn't that? I felt like that made more. Wasn't that because the father's dead and.
What did it do with him?
In Tom Cruise and Top Gun Maverick, right?
Yeah, but
what's that got to do with?
Why was John Hamm's character just so against him the whole time? Like, I don't.
Oh, you're talking about him. You're talking about him.
Yeah. Maverick. Like they were just trying to create drama there, but there's some. I mean, it's an entertaining movie for sure.
No, it is a very entertaining movie. It's very good. I'm just saying it's overrated. Oh, we're just saying it's overrated.
Yeah,
it's not like game changing. I think it got a lot of love because
I don't think it's game changing. I think it's just
the theaters, and it was like $1 billion picture when everybody was afraid and scared and thinking they needed to rethink their futures in cinema. And then here comes this movie that was a throwback to the 80s that made $1 billion. I think that's why I got a lot of extra love. The movie itself is not that great. I mean, as far as it's not great. It's a good movie.
My favorite Tom Cruise movies are Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation, probably number 1. Last Samurai, probably number 2. Interview. I don't think I have Interview in the top 3. That might be like top 6 or 7. Interview with the Vampire. It's a good one. Edge of Tomorrow, definitely right there. Oblivion.
Okay, now.
And then
there's a little movie that was in mid-90s.
I'm forgetting something.
Where he played a lawyer.
The Firm.
Firm, baby.
I actually liked Few Good Men better. That's more of an ensemble cast movie, but that's a good ass movie.
I like The Firm better than A Few Good Men.
Minority Report was decent.
I love The Firm.
I think he's had a pretty good track record. He's had a few misses.
He's some of my favorite movies of all time.
Legend. But way back.
Legend.
Was that Timothy? Who played the devil?
Yeah, it was Tim Curry.
Yep. Anyway, movie podcast. Terrell's tuned out. He's done.
That man walked off. I'm gonna give me something to eat. What is that?
That's the
okay.
Tell what that is?
Yeah.
You remember that?
25th edition. What do you call it?
Of the Super
Mario
All-Stars,
All-Stars Wii.
Yeah.
What is it? What's in that? Just like a DVD?
It's like this.
No, it's the games.
The soundtrack.
Oh, a soundtrack.
But then you got like a whole different timeline and interviews.
They gave that shit more love than they gave 3D All-Stars.
Yeah, this is actually a really cool booklet, man.
Yeah, it is.
Talks about like a little blurb for each one.
You doing show and tell? You just got that?
No. Well, I mean, I had this when I was younger, and I don't know what happened to it, so I ended up rebuying it. So.
Anyway, Indie Direct partnership direct tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
40 minutes. They didn't say no Switch 2 stuff. I didn't see it.
Yeah, right.
They didn't say no Switch 2.
Did they did say.
Oh, I missed it.
Follow-up tweet.
Got you.
Oh man, if
I didn't think there was.
That means the whole internet missed it.
I didn't think there would be. I just didn't think they felt the need to put that because of what it was.
As a Nintendo fan, I'm sorry to say
they
this.
even put it in the Nintendo Museum thing. They put on the Nintendo
Did
Museum.
They? I apologize to my Nintendrones out there. But as a Nintendo fan, I just don't care about indie directs anymore.
I don't either.
Even partner directs because of this bad boy right here. I don't care. Because I'm gonna buy him for this.
At least you get to see like games that you could play on there.
I guess that's true. That's true.
That's how I do.
Y'all talking about video games? What the fuck?
I view these partner showcases. I view these. I view the partner showcases and
Almost
the
took a
indie
nap.
directs.
I was gonna leave. I'm like, bro, I gotta go, y'all. I ain't doing this shit tonight.
What about you, Terrell? Since you tuned out,
I don't know. I was tuned in, and
I
wanna
bet
go
there's
get
going to be
eat.
something in the partnership direct for Terrell.
As long as it's
is it partner or indie?
Partner
This is
and
partner.
indie.
Both.
partner
It's
and
both.
indie.
Both.
It's a back-to-back show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gonna
I
be
missed
40
that.
minutes in
Okay.
total.
That's
so
why
I'm
I
thinking
think there's
20
going to be
minutes
Sea of
each.
Thieves announcement.
Oh, I'll kill someone. I'm gonna take someone the fuck out. I'm gonna be on.
They're gonna be looking scruffy though. I'm just gonna.
I'm gonna get on Twitter and be like, Juice ruined this for me. He put fucking Sea of Thieves in this goddamn direct.
It's possible.
I mean,
Kingdom
to
Hearts
me, like
3
I always
physical?
view these
No,
partner
hell no.
showcases. I view these partner showcases and indie directs as just like games that I will play. Very not likely on Switch though.
Well,
I just
the partner
it's
showcase
really
is
nice.
just,
Switch you get from Microsoft at this point.
just Pentiment and Grounded.
Oh, it got
Yeah.
grounded.
Yeah, we got grounded.
It
Well,
looks
Sea of
terrible.
Thieves is very possible then. I mean, it
Grounded
doesn't
looks
look
pretty
great.
bad.
Yeah, it does.
Unless they patched it.
I just remembered that.
They
That
tried
it got
to.
grounded.
I'll say that. They tried to patch it.
Is it
I
out
mean,
now?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been out
it's been out.
since the PlayStation 4.
No, so I think the one thing that shocked me with this direct is I was like, well, we just had one in June, and we kind of have your layout for the rest of the year, guys. Like,
There's a partner direct.
I
There's
know,
going to
but
be
like,
some late ports, some maybe a game we haven't been announced
I guess my
yet.
question is, what late ports are coming that are feasible?
To be fair, there are brand new third-party stuff from like Level 5 coming that they could show Fantasy Life.
Yeah.
And, Professor
I mean,
Layton
yeah.
and feel like that updates like that.
You think?
So,
I mean,
there
I'm
are
just thinking.
brand
I was
stuff that they can show.
more thinking like major ports, and I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe a
what else
cloud-based game. Metal Gear
God.
Solid,
Maybe
new
a-
Metal Gear Snake Eater.
Please don't let it be a cloud-based
I
game.
saw
Square
apparently
and Capcom can shut the hell up with all that nonsense.
Call of Duty Brazil account has been following Nintendo accounts.
Oh yeah, could be a Call of Duty.
Oh, that's right. We're supposed to
Yeah.
get Call of Duty. A Call of
They're
Duty.
supposed to. I mean, they signed a goddamn contract, right? So it's
Yeah,
supposed to-
Microsoft, you signed a contract with Nintendo that you didn't need to sign, but you chose
It's
to
gonna
sign
be
anyway.
Switch 2. It's gonna be Switch 2. I told y'all they have to put out something on Switch. They have
But,
to.
not just
what if
early.
it's not Black Ops 6? That would be kind of against the
That'd be
rules too. I feel
breach
like.
breach of contract.
Oh, that's
Wait,
true.
what? Say what?
If it's not Black Ops 6, that also feels like it's breaching the contract.
Yeah, they have to put Black Ops 6 on that bitch.
On Switch? I mean,
They
man,
have to.
I'd be curious.
Why you saying like that?
Why you hissing?
That's
all the
disrespectful,
so
man.
haven't we gone over this shit already? Every
Yeah,
Call
but-
of Duty is on Wii
It's getting further apart in terms
in,
of
in
like
next generation.
like,
No, it's
in
not.
terms of-
No, it ain't. You're telling me that the Wii is further away from the 360 than Switch is from what am I? I'm mixing this up now. What is it?
Wait,
PS4?
what?
I know. No,
What
I
would
get
it
what
be,
you're saying. I get what you're
PS4?
saying. I get what you're
PS5?
saying, but it does. It does. I mean, it feels like it, to be honest. It feels-
It feels like I just don't care about your feelings, okay?
Oh, hell
I'm
no.
just saying, like-
you hit
like,
you
I-
one of those. That's an old
like, Black Ops-
classic.
I feel like it
You been
kind of
watching
feels like
Chrome Tide
this
again,
in
haven't you?
terms of when you see some of these ports. You know, when you see some of these bad ports. But
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Just feel like-
again, there's all these factors. Is it it's the development studio, how good they are. It's the how good they are at optimizing stuff.
but
These are
what
all
if-
factors.
what if Nintendo,
engine-
Microsoft talked about their contract and Nintendo's like, bro, don't worry, wait till the Switch 2 and you can release the Black Ops 6 on there. It's cool with us. Maybe they
Yeah,
made
but
it,
we need to
maybe-
know that because we don't fucking
You know
know
what I
that.
mean?
I want to know that.
Maybe,
I know,
maybe
but they
they
signed
talked
the
about it. I know they signed the contract, but it's their contract. So maybe they say, hey, by the way, we're making our new console. I know you thought it was coming out this year.
FTC's gonna be like, what the fuck is this? We allowed you to do this under false pretenses. You were supposed to put this
No,
shit on
but
Switch.
I mean, I guess I could see Nintendo being like, hey, man, I know you expect. I know when we signed it or behind the deal contract about this 10-year, you thought, and we pretty much thought we were going to release this console this year, but we're
Right,
actually doing it next year. So,
We're-
you know what?
I'm just
We can
confused,
release
Robert.
Black Ops 6 next year.
Well, I don't get it.
Robert, you are confusing me when you act like this game. All you got to do Let's take a certain engine that is good with Switch, put the maps, the same maps, and call that shit Call of Duty.
That's development crunch. See,
He
they
said
can't
it.
do
He
that.
said it'd have to be feature complete as all the other versions. I thought it said, but
Yeah, I want
honestly,
that cross-platform.
I just feel like they
with
signed that shit
PlayStation
and they
5
were
users.
talking
The
about
fuck?
it.
I don't
I feel
remember
like
them
they were-
saying that specifically for Switch. I
well,
think they were
Phil
saying
said
that as far
that
as
that wasn't part of the. Phil just said that like out loud.
Yeah, they
I don't
just
think
said from
it was part of the-
Nintendo.
I don't
Like,
think
it's
that
Well,
was
you know,
part of
Phil's
that
a
deal.
liar.
Nintendo for the
so, you
next
know.
10
He's
years.
a total fucking liar.
I think honestly, I would be happy with a Call of Duty 1 and 2 kind of situation remakes like in one game. Like I don't see Call of Duty 6 or Black Ops 6 on Switch unless the characters are in like wireframes and
Are there potatoes?
flat text because of the file
That's
size. They got to get
wild.
the file size down to like 60 gigs or 50 gigs.
They got to use the Wii engine to
How
make
much
it.
more powerful is the 360 over the Wii?
It's
Can
not about
somebody
power. It's just
quantify-
it's about the textures and stuff. The game was
It's
what
about
200 and something gigs.
Call of Duty
So-
wants to be unrestrained like the wind.
Is that great in the Wii version of Call of Duty? No, they weren't. The game can be put on there if they want to do it. Are they going to
Yeah,
put that
it
kind of?
definitely could. It's just how far will it downgrade? It would be curious.
I don't think it's worth
You
it.
got Witcher running on the goddamn Switch. I don't want to hear any of this shit.
No, I
Like-
get it. Like I know they can, but I'm just.
But it's
curious
got to be
to see
60
if, if you will.
FPS. I mean, if it ain't 60, then they might as well
Okay.
say fuck it.
Those guys look like a potato in order to run to 60. Come on, man.
You
mean,
say
hey,
it's got to be
Metroid
60.
Prime
Why does it
4
have to
looks-
be 60?
Metroid Prime 4 looks
Because
great.
parody.
High
I mean,
resolution
Parody.
I
studio.
guess
they
if
agree.
there's no cross-
They agree to parody. They
I
agree
guess
to
if they don't
parody.
do crossplay.
There ain't gonna be no parody. Yeah, you ain't gonna have that shit. You ain't have no crossplay and all this shit. You ain't
You
gonna
gotta
get
have
all that.
crossplay. That it's feature.
That's
feature
parody.
thing.
That's parody. You gotta have parody. What the fuck?
60 FPS is parody too.
Keep talking about this feature shit that is not in the goddamn contract.
I wanted to
just
just listen. If it's 60 FPS, it's gonna look like a potato. That's all I'm gonna
Spencer
say.
said something, a lie. His head grows.
That sounds like.
I think they'd be better off to
Cancer.
put
What the fuck is that? That's radiation poisoning.
They needed crossplay, man.
Call of
They
Duty
needed-
collection from the
Want that
7th
classic
gen.
Call of Duty collection on
Yeah,
Game Pass on Nintendo Switch.
Was there crossplay from the Wii versions of Call of Duty to the 360?
There was no crossplay at all.
There's nothing at all.
That was no deal, man. That
That's
wasn't a
the
deal.
thing.
I'm making a valid point here. I'm making a valid point that with
man,
some
yeah, but
receipts.
the
You
last
said
time
Phil Spencer has a
Call of
big
Duty
head. That's not a valid point.
They ain't valid anymore.
You're trying to downplay this. Oh, that was no. I'm
No.
There wasn't no deal on the Wii, man.
Yeah, but
You're
30
downplaying-
frames per second as a Call of Duty game on the Wii, which a lot of people kept buying. Because every one of them bitches sold 1 million copies.
Hold
So
on.
a lot of people kept buying them.
That was because Grandma was shooting noobs in the head.
We could not play with anybody else. We only play with Wii people, and we had a great time.
So
So I
even
don't wanna
for
hit this.
everything has crossplay on the Switch.
How
man.
many people on Switch?
What?
Is there not enough people on Switch to warrant lobbies in Call of Duty? We make
I
enough.
don't know.
I honestly think the file size is the
In
biggest issue.
2024?
Now you just want to win an argument. You're turning
No,
into
no.
retro.
No. I look at the end of the day, like crossplay is so important to me in general for multiplayer games from here on out. Like it makes no sense. Like even look, all the Switch games have crossplay. Fortnite, Fall Guys, Apex, which you see now, Apex runs. That's
Runs like
crossplay
ass.
too. So like everything
is
is
it on Switch
crossplay.
though?
Huh?
Is it on Switch?
Yeah.
Apex, yeah.
Okay.
Apex
Alright.
Legends on Switch.
All right, then shut the fuck up. I win.
Wait, I don't get you.
I
oh,
win.
like, as it
If
runs
Apex can
back?
run on Switch,
Runs back?
so can fucking Call of Duty. I don't want to hit it.
Okay. I get you. No, I get it. It definitely can.
Listen.
It can.
I want my
My
regular
theory-
graphics so it can run at 60. That's all I'm saying.
Arguing about this shit. I
No.
not you would be the guy arguing with
No,
me
but-
about this.
No, but see, my theory is that
'Cause you're always the one defending ass ports.
no,
or
but my
ashy
theory,
ports.
no, hold on, but my theory is that Microsoft and Nintendo, when they were talking about this contract, they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna probably be doing something," and then Microsoft was like, "Okay, well, we're releasing on that new platform for sure."
Yeah,
and then,
but
and then
okay,
Nintendo
so-
was like,
so now that everything Microsoft says is biblical, Microsoft also had ads running in Europe for 120 million new players. They were talking about the goddamn Switch when they said that. Okay, so they were talking about this Switch what we have right now. When they so if what you're saying is true, then you have to also accept the fact that they said they were going to add these games to the Switch.
The gaslight. Let's see what you did, Juice. Did you gaslight? Let's see.
I'm just looking at the. I just want to see how Apex.
Apex Legends on Switch.
I just want to see how it looks now. This is a new.
That shit is.
That's the newest one.
This is a new video. So this is like an update.
This
is a month ago.
I just saw him turn the camera and that bitch stuttered.
It stuttered a bit. That's all right. It's a Switch.
Bit.
It's going to stutter.
A bit.
I mean,
Let's see the
gameplay.
Good, let's see the gameplay. Oof. Let's see the
gameplay.
gameplay.
No, that's pretty bad.
Let's see the gameplay. Oof. Oof. Oof.
Look at those potatoes. Look at all that potato, man.
I just read that the reason called Black Ops 6 is 309 gigabytes is because the application contains Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, like the entire games.
I blame Switch Online more for this than anything.
This doesn't look as bad as maybe it did at launch.
That's not fair.
Yeah, maybe
Nintendo didn't try with that.
I think it's kind of fair.
I actually think this
Nintendo didn't try with that. See, it's not fair.
Do you remember playing Mario? What was it? Mario. What was the Mario game?
We got to pick a Mario game. We got a lot.
Mario Maker. Remember playing Mario Maker multiplayer and shit?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That was bad.
How great that ran.
Hey man, I'm actually impressed with this, to be honest right now. I didn't think it was
okay.
Okay.
Okay then.
All right, man.
When
Black Ops 6 is getting announced tomorrow.
They were laughing at putting what was the game?
A lot of running in this game.
The game that Apex came from.
Yours is running, man. It's a big ass map. It's a
Why can't I think of the name of the damn games? The Mech game.
Right, you don't drop as soon as they start having a firefight. Wait for it.
What the hell was the EA Mech game that spawned this?
Titanfall.
Yeah. They were laughing at Titanfall 2 being on the Switch and shit, and here they go with Apex on this bit.
Was it Wii U or Switch?
No, it was Switch.
No, it was Switch.
Yeah, they were talking shit about the
early
controller.
Switch.
Yeah,
it was super early Switch.
They're acting like they had to map it. They're acting like they had to map it to one Joy-Con. They couldn't put it. I'm like, get that shit out of here.
I agree with you. Black Ops 6 is coming to Switch.
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you. So stupid.
I'm telling you, it's not a big deal. Why y'all making this a big deal?
Is there 5 people in this match? Like, where is anybody?
Bro, it's a big map.
Dude, I used to play this game. I'd run into people constantly.
Smooth, man.
We had Dead Rising.
Bitch,
we had Dead Rising on the Wii. Get that shit out of here, bro.
I want a Dead Rising port. I want a Dead Rising port. That's what I want.
You can see on the side people getting killed.
No, you got maybe 10, 11. You didn't get as many zombies, but it was still Dead Rising, motherfucker.
5 months ago. I just want to see what it looks like.
Yeah,
on the better console. On the better console.
You're right, but you know what? Apex Legends doesn't look much better than Titanfall 2. I would argue in some instances Titanfall 2 looks better than Apex Legends, and I'm talking about
Titanfall 2 is a great looking game
on Xbox. That's what I'm saying. It's a great looking game.
Yeah, this isn't blowing me away on PS5.
That's what I'm saying. It's not crazy visual or anything.
Almost more of a cell shaded look, I guess, than I remembered. It's not cell shaded, but it has kind of a
like bright colors and shit. It's not quite what's the hero shooter?
Overwatch?
Yeah, it's not quite Overwatch.
Oh no, it's not that at all. This is a lot
more elements.
Yeah, well, they're definitely trying to get the more realistic texture wise, but
this is definitely fast paced. I think this is a high frame rate. Maybe he's running on lower settings.
Oh, you said it's on PS5, right?
Yeah, but I think it might be. I don't know. Could be wrong.
Well, this is also probably a really good player that's going.
Yeah, this guy is like I said though. Like this person instantly encountered people. I don't know what the guy.
This is how Juice played back in the day.
Well, you gotta remember again, Juice. Remember, it's a big map, so the other guy might have gone to the outskirts of the map. True. So he's not interacting with anybody for the long.
I thought the furry was so smooth.
Yeah, because he's a Nintendo gamer. What you expect? He don't know how to play these type of games.
Have we seen Black Ops 6?
Shooters?
multiplayer
Have
yet?
you seen it? Yeah, of course. Oh, multiplayer. Yeah, wait, wasn't that in? Oh, multiplayer.
11
reveal,
hours
they just-
ago. The
There you
reveal
go.
trailer. Wow, breaking
And
breaking
also they
news.
showed- no, but remember they showed it. They showed it during.
Is that really breaking news?
They first announced it. They showed some of it.
This just came out 10 hours ago.
It looks the same.
Yeah,
as,
this is
Black Ops
multiplayer
1 through-
gameplay. This looks like a cinematics.
Besides,
like
Oh,
in
wait
game.
a second, man. It's 10 seconds. Goddamn shit.
It looks in game at least.
Multiplayer reveal should be all. It should. There you go. First person perspective. I get
Damn it,
showing
there's
some of the
another
chaos
cutscene.
like this.
not another cutscene. This is
I
bullshit.
love doing this type of.
What about
Call
the
of Duty stuff.
No,
gameplay,
this-
man?
That's
Over
lame.
the over
That
the
Tomahawk ain't gonna be in the game.
That will be, of course, that'll be. in the
It won't
game.
look like that. That's for damn sure. Get that shit out of here.
That's how it looks.
I wonder
like.
if this
Remember, you
footage is actually pulled from the
I mean, not like that,
multiplayer
so-
and this from a third person
Probably
camera.
the PC version. This is probably the PC game.
Look, that's you hold the guy and look. Remember, it's like the map.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
want,
a
but I'm
game.
saying I wonder if that's actual like what the footage looks like when you turn the camera around to like a third person.
Oh
No, there's no third
there's
person.
no-
No,
Nobody's
I'm
there.
saying they played. Someone was playing a match and then they just took a
Oh.
virtual camera around, or is this all bullshit that isn't?
No, that's definitely a like a
It's
god.
like, ain't no third
Like
person.
that?
What are you talking about?
You
man?
swing the bat around like that? Like, is that actually
I
in the
can
game?
see it like as if
Is
you're
that
looking at the
360?
around your neck and shit. Nah, you ain't doing all
No,
that.
it's-
If I do a first person with the drone,
You're doing this, Terrell. You're
That's cool.
actually because look,
That's
I'm
actually
in
this is
the-
No, that's
actually
not
a
me.
trailer.
that was
That
me.
is- that
That's
is the
crazy.
that's the game, man. They've
This
said
is
they
a
showed
pretty
us
cool
what they're
trailer.
doing in it.
Yeah.
I'm glad
It's
they're
the Max
Black
Payne
Ops,
style
man.
thing.
I respect that.
This is one of the better trailers, I think.
That's the Max Payne style shit that they're doing now.
Does
Cool.
Max Payne get respected? I feel like it doesn't.
It does.
It better.
Yeah. Max
It did
Payne
slow-mo
3
before
is
slow-mo
great.
was cool.
That's underrated as hell, though.
See, that's what I thought. Don't get respected.
Yeah,
like it needs to.
Max Payne 3 definitely doesn't get the respect.
I mean, now they because people were saying Max Payne 3 multiplayer is
What's
back.
good,
Pre-order
boy?
now. Where's the consoles? Where does it say?
It's time for the
There's
beta.
a list of
Nintendo's
systems.
tomorrow.
Man.
This just came out. I'm not seeing. Didn't say.
Him reacts, baby.
Yeah,
Let's
why
go.
don't you do a reaction? You should have did a live reaction. Juice, you're fun, man.
Man,
All right, let's
I
get
wanna
out of
just-
here.
Hey, you know what I miss? I want to juice reacts. That's what I want. I want to juice
I
reacts.
need-
Titanfall was
Play-
20, Titanfall
Call
2
of
was
Duty.
2016.
Yep.
yeah, it's crazy.
Old
I
as
need
fuck,
Terrell
man.
to
It's
play
great.
the new Call of Duty.
An
Man.
amazing
No,
game.
no.
Terrell just finally started playing
I
Astral
have
Chain
Game
again.
Pass, but I don't want
Oh.
you to embarrass me online, Robert.
Speaking of
I just want to
Titanfall,
see you play it.
Oh, you just want to see me suffer.
what's
I
her
want to
name?
see. When the
Jennifer
last time
Lopez
you ever
movie,
played a Call of Duty?
Netflix movie.
No, I've never played Call of Duty before.
There you go. Perfect.
What's the name of that shit? The
I
Jennifer
want to, man.
Lopez movie with the mech and shit.
I don't
What?
know.
That movie is very fucking good.
People
I
like
don't
Jennifer
know.
Lopez? Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm just saying the movie that was on Netflix where she's like, she's fighting against this terrorist and shit, and she has like this mech
Atlas.
Atlas. That movie is actually really good. I don't know what the fuck all the
19% Rotten Tomato.
Hey.
Damn.
at all. I would
Hey.
flip that bitch around and make it a 91. I think that movie is really good. I don't understand the hate for that movie. I think it's just Jennifer Lopez hate. I don't know.
I
Maybe
haven't seen one Netflix movie I thought was good yet. But
Atlas is good. I will
stopped
vouch for
watching them.
Atlas.
Oh, this sounds like a movie podcast, so let me get my
anyway, we'll get out of here. Thanks, you guys.
Terrell,
Introvert, thanks for the 12 pounds. I feel like
Wait, what'd you say,
we're
Robert?
not going to agree with a lot of points you. I'm not
Sonic
agreeing
movie
with a lot of
trailer
points you
tomorrow.
made,
yeah,
but I
it's on movie
appreciate
trailer tomorrow. It's gonna be hype, man.
appreciate the donations and everybody for being here and fun podcast. I don't know where Sandstorm went. He just
You heard movies. He's like, I gotta go,
maybe
bro.
maybe that malware got him out of his
Oh,
computer.
wow, that's wild. That's
But,
crazy. Hit that man while he's down.
Next week we
Watch him
talk
make a-
about the
Watch
Game
him
Pass.
upload a YouTube video.
Game
oh,
Pass coming to Switch with Through the Cloud, full Game Pass.
There
He gonna put a YouTube video out on you. Oh, wait a minute.
Avatar Frontiers of Pandora coming to Switch native.
native.
What?
Yeah.
6p, 360p.
The Steam Deck can't even run that.
Yeah,
Put it in
That's,
480p. Let's get it.
But anyway, it's been
But
fun.
my Legion Go can. Ooh.
See you guys next time.
Bye bye. Oh, nice.
Let's go.
Is that Oh, I thought it was a Japanese case for a second.
Man, stop buying these aftermarket ass cases.
Why